Now we're live.
Live and in living color.
What's up, buddy?
So, what conversation were you referring to? The one about Tony doing videos, or
just pretty much that one, but the response to it.
No. Listen, I fully get that, but I guess it's more of a personal discussion that we've had with a specific person, is what it would be.
What was it?
Just about like people that, like, if you're not first, they're not going to do it, or they're going to whine.
But he keeps harping on that, and I'm like, look, bro, it's good, and yes, you do have a valid point. There is an advantage, because I'm with you on that. There is an advantage to getting it first and getting it out there. You're going to get everybody, and no one has it but you, of course, duh. But don't quit and poo-poo on it because, these guys all got it, so I might as not.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's weird because I don't deal with that at all because of what I do. You know, it's everything I do is I'm the first one because I'm making it. But on the other hand, I'm also jealous because you guys have, like, you can just react to things as they come out. It's much easier to just kind of, mass produce or make more frequent videos that way.
Right. I've got like a 2 to 3 week delay between when things come out and when they get on the slow boat here to Guatemala. So I gave up on trying to do reviews a long time ago. It's like, I got to find different content.
Yeah, it's not for you. That's all.
Exactly.
I'm just kind of lucky because I live in Arizona and Mark is in here from Gridiron, and I get a lot of his stuff first because I'm in the same, and I'm his buddy. So
sweet.
Let me jump on it.
And you're buying figures, so why not do it?
I'm buying them, and I want his stuff on my figures. But I'll do that for Muchas Gracias and Jay's Armory and Thanatos Unlimited if I get the stuff,
I subbed to you, by the way. You got 25 now, at least.
Sweet.
Damn, Redknapp, thank you so much, bro.
And those kind of videos are value add, I appreciate when other people put those kind of reviews out to give me an idea of, is this something I want to invest in? If I'm on the fence, I really like seeing those reviews when people are, checking it out, taking it out of the package, playing with it. So,
and I can watch all these guys because they're first, or they have it first, but I still want. Okay, now Dreadnought Ryan's got it. Finally, I want to go see he is my friend, but I want to go see what he says about it. Travis, I want to see what you say about it. I want to see what Larry has to say about it.
I want to see Larry get mad.
All this.
That's right. I don't even collect Classified, but I love watching Lawrence just go, ape shit when Classified goes sideways.
See, that's another thing, and that's because his personality and that's his style of doing it. That's what brings you. And Travis, you're going to have your own style, and we want to go see your dumbass too sometime.
Half of Punk's subs are just there waiting for him to blow up. That's it.
I bet you're going to say there's a betting pool on if he's going to have a stroke on a video or something. That's way darker.
I just passed 1,500 followers on Instagram, so I'm like, oh shit.
Nice.
Okay, I got to do a channel now. So I'm like,
Listen, I fully believe that the 70 to 80 people watching on Monday, half of them are there to watch and see if I blow up. And I've never blown up to a point where
I don't
screaming.
Well, there was that steroid night. It was pretty close.
Oh, yeah,
I was on that one.
That was fun.
That was
Roman was acting like a medical alert dog. He's like, dude.
So the whole funny thing about that steroid thing was I was pissed off about Viper Island. Like, that's what the whole thing, but the whole overflow of the Travis and the amount of messages that he had sent me that Friday leading into it, and it boiled over to when I don't even think he was in the chat at the time. I just went off.
Wonderful, Travis?
No.
Travis from a toy kind of mood.
Moody, my boss. Mine and KJ's boss.
There was this issue with getting the wolf spider, and this was when things were coming. We were getting things from overseas, and he wouldn't leave me alone. And come to find out, he wouldn't leave other people alone, like just bugging people. And he was waiting for it. He was,
no joke.
Bobby B got.
No joke.
I didn't even order it, so it didn't even matter to me. I'm like, I don't even fucking order it. Like, I'm not getting it, no matter what.
Well, he would get it and he would throw it in yours and Bobby and Baldy's face. And but he's that passive aggressive. And if you're watching, Travis, yes, you motherfucker, yes, you.
He's not. He has no idea who Ed is.
I know he's in Chicago still with freaking Ruben messing around. No, he would do that, and it's like, okay, there's a little truth in your bullshit, though. You know what I mean? It's just but damn, he was blowing you up. Larry would call me. What is up with your boy? What'd he do? What'd he do? He's on me. Yeah, I got it. Like a little kid. Like I got it first. Ha ha ha. And all that. Oh, I'm just kidding.
No, he was mad because he didn't get it first and wouldn't shut up. I'm like, I don't give it. Like, I don't even have the fucking figure ordered. Like, I'm not getting it from overseas, so it doesn't matter.
He was driving Larry up the wall with it. Dude, I'm like,
I was. And understand, I'm getting messages at 10 in the morning. I'm in Detroit. From
Travis.
He's in California, which means he's up at like 6 in the fucking morning, like messaging us. And I'm like, I don't.
It was obviously causing him to lose sleep. So.
Now these are DMs or text messages, like Instagram,
Facebook.
He was Facebooking him,
and then someone from Instagram. But then I know he was blowing up Bobby B at the same time.
Yes.
Because when I talked to Bobby about it, he's like, "Yeah, he must."
I love that fucker, but goddamn.
Yeah, it's like I live in a place where some of my neighbors don't even have indoor plumbing. So it's like, these are first world problems dealing with plastic. I'm not going to get all worked up over a toy. I'm just not, We're very fortunate in what we do. We've got like a core group that watch, even if we do some weird, wacky stuff. I do stuff that's non-toy related sometimes just because I want to try something different. Mm-hmm. And there's like 20, 30 guys that always show up. And then, everybody else will kind of come and go, and that works. Lawrence got his movie thing he does, and he's got a core group that are hardcore for that, and everybody else is kind of like, you do a movie thing? No.
The movie thing all originated from my Monday show.
I'm helping out with Billy Jack.
What?
I'm helping out with Billy Jack. Matthew reached out to me and said, "You want to come on with me and Ed? We're doing Billy Jack the 20-something. Ed, I
21st or something like that." Yeah,
yeah.
You got to have the hat to do the Billy Jack, don't you?
I'm gonna take this foot and put it across that side of your face. And he did it.
Well, you guys are more than welcome to do a few of these because I need a break.
Sometimes it.
But Ed, I thought you and Matthew had actually talked about. I think the last few times you guys did one about a few movies that you guys wanted to do. So
yeah, there was Billy Jack, and I can't remember the other ones, but yeah, there's a couple of them.
I have to go back and watch that some bitch.
I know I got to watch it again to refresh my memory on it too. But
he's awesome. He's a badass.
Anybody watch the Umbrella Academy?
I do.
What's the first season?
Yeah, I just watched the first season. Surprisingly good. I didn't expect much, but
it's really good, and it's very original.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like an anime, like someone who wrote the story is almost like an anime plot because it's very all over. Like you kind of don't expect some of it. Some of it I did, but the first episode of season 2 is like crazy. Like there's just so much. But it's good.
Well, sure. What is very strange is in season 3, they have to figure out a way.
Spoilers out.
No. This isn't a spoiler because they have to figure out how to write the girl into being transgender because she's transitioned. So they had to figure out a way to write that in. It's not a spoiler. I mean, I remember thinking like, how can they do this? And it actually worked out. Like it. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because the writers of that show seem actually on top of it. So it's.
Well, it was created by
Gerard, the guy that was in that band.
Gerard Way.
Yes.
30 Seconds to Mars. No.
That's Jared.
My Chemical Romance, Gerard
Yeah,
Way. The guy who I used to think sounded like Billy Corgan when they first came
Which
out.
really made me think that it's going to be awful. And that's how open-minded I can be, that I can hate a band and how awful their music is, but say, hey, he made a pretty good TV show. I'm that open-minded.
I kind of like the Black Parade.
Yeah.
But no, I think the show is really good. And again, like the whole concept of everything that's going on, you're like, this is batshit crazy, but it's working.
It's working. I mean, I did see some of it coming, like the girl. I mean, it's first episode stuff, but the girl with the pills, I was like, oh, yeah, obviously there's something there.
Yeah.
And all that.
Klaus is the best. He is by far the best character ever created on TV, honestly. I mean, I don't even like Umbrella Academy that much, but Klaus is fantastic.
Yeah, the actor who plays him has got super charisma. He really sells it.
He was
that's true.
I don't know. There was this British show called Misfits. He was on like the first season of that, and he was fantastic in that too. I remember. I think it was when they were getting ready to do Peter Capaldi as the Doctor on Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying, I was like, oh, he would be perfect. He would be a great Doctor. I still think he might be a good one, but yeah, we'll see.
But I think a lot of times with like a TV show like The Umbrella Academy, like I said, which is batshit crazy, a lot of times you get a TV show like that, after a while, it just seems like they're just trying to do things. There's no plan. This so far, all 3 seasons, I feel like there is a plan, and it's all working out, and it's telling a proper story. And I hope that this being the last season, that they will end it properly. You don't have some awful cliffhanger or where you're sitting, wondering, well, how did this thing really end, or what should they really do?
Yeah, one of my favorite shows that is a little bit more recent, it's not that recent anymore, was The Expanse. And it was awesome, but the last season, man, they just didn't wrap up things as well as I wish they would have. The alien tech, you just kind of didn't know what happened. It was just kind of like, sort of.
Yeah, I think Amazon kind of pulled the budget on that. The books are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still haven't read the last one because I don't know if I can bring myself to it yet. But that whole series is so good. I mean, vomiting space zombies. I mean, that was the craziest, weirdest twist ever. Like, where did this come from?
It's just nice to have something that's not a retread or taking something from the 80s and trying to make it fresh. It's like, just write me a new story, guys. Come on.
Right. And I really like it's one of the best examples, I think, of doing social commentary tactfully in a good way that was very constructive. I didn't feel like it was on the nose, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, comic adaptations and sci-fi is you can delve into some hot button issues, but if you put it in the context of, fiction, it doesn't hurt as much when you hit people where they live.
But I have to say this, Largo, like what you said about taking something from the 80s just to make it, you look at like Cobra Kai, that's how you do it right. They created a wonderful story, and they expanded on all these characters that you knew and that you grew to know, but they also added other characters. And that was one of the things Matthew and I were talking about with the latest Motu series. And it was kind of like, I feel like they crammed it too much in there because you don't know if you're going to get another season. Where with Cobra Kai, it's like they didn't introduce every single character from all the movies at once. They slowly brought it in, but they expanded on each of those characters. I think Maverick was another movie that was perfect. Like, I remember going, dude, how are you going to make a Top Gun 2 30 years later? Stupid.
Yeah. How do you have a 60-year-old jet pilot that doesn't drive? But
this movie is awesome. It fit. You didn't have to see the first Top Gun. They reference enough where, just like a regular movie, that there was no, here's the backstory.
We got a volleyball scene.
2-way football.
Did he sing "You Lost This Love and Feeling" again? I didn't watch the second one.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't watched the new one either, but Kevin Smith did talk about the new Motu, where they're not even sure they're getting a new one. And the whole thing he said was, keep watching it, and you will. They want to do more, but Netflix came to them and said, hey, it felt like 10 was too much for you. You only need to do 5. Here you go. You have 5. And so they had to do everything they wanted in 5. But I feel like they did a way better job with 5 episodes than they did with 10 episodes.
Yeah, the pace was good.
And I do get that, but it's like they don't know if they're going to get it. So they tried cramming too much in some ways, where it's better if it's sprinkled in, like Cobra Kai. And obviously Cobra Kai, they didn't know they were going to get as many seasons. I mean, I understand why you do it. And I'm not saying I didn't
Tony,
like it, although
Tony, you're up to 31 subs already.
No.
This is like our countdown. Like, can we get Tony to 100 subs by the end of the stream?
That might happen. Everyone, go follow.
Wait, no, not 31. I can't count. He's up to 27.
27.
Will.
I see 31 views. Is that right?
31 views. I was looking at the wrong number. There's 27.
You've already lost 4 subs.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Welcome to YouTube.
That's what happens when you come on these Saturday night Clubhouses.
I was going to say, Tony, you're going to have to be careful who you associate with now, man.
Right.
Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't need him if I can't. I don't need him. I don't need him if I can't hang with y'all.
Yeah, this is an interesting concept. They're doing that Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio.
Yes, I thought that was.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the original Karate Kid
Jackie Chan is Miyagi.
The second Karate Kid.
So
I like that movie.
I'm interested to see how they do this, because the one thing about like the Jackie Chan Karate Kid movie, which really wasn't all that bad.
No, it was all right.
They did not. It was a remake, but they didn't name them the same people. So it's like, is it just in the universe, or does it have nothing to do with it? So obviously they've been able to retcon it, where it's going to be like, hey, it was just in this universe.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't call it, he's Ralph, or not Ralph Macchio, Daniel-san and Miyagi.
A lot of people didn't like that. Apparently it's not karate, it's kung fu in the newer one. But
that's fine.
But they actually refer to it as kung fu too. So it's
the Kung Fu Kid.
Yeah.
I think it was more the idea than the art or whatever, or the fighting style.
Yeah.
It was more that, like, hey, they're teaching you some kind of fighting. I mean, at least it didn't keep going. It could have ended up being boxing called Karate Kid.
The MMA Kid, dude.
I would have got mad then.
I like the MMA Kid.
That sounds like a total 80s movies title.
They need to do like an MMA Kid, but they have to branch it out over like 4 years, because every time he gets in a fight with one of the big MMA guys, they like snap his arm. So he has like 6 months of rehab.
He comes back with a new style. He starts out with like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi can do that warm the hands up thing.
Yeah.
He's fine.
There was those fighting movies that came out in the early 2000s. What were they called? I can't remember. It had the guy who's in Guardians and I can't think of his name.
Guardians. Oh,
like Batista?
Dijon whatever is like his teacher, and it's got Amber Heard in it, and it's got and it's like Never Back Down. Never Back Down.
Oh, I never saw any of those.
No, me neither.
Well, they did like a whole series of them, which is basically reboot of Karate Kid.
Okay.
Only it's mixed martial arts.
Oh, okay.
And they're not. I mean, I've only seen the one, and it wasn't a horrible movie at all. It was actually a pretty good movie. Like, kid moves from somewhere to Florida or Southern California or whatever, and like gets bullied and learns how to do MMA so he can beat up the guy. But like the guy doesn't want to fight him if there's not a crowd, and so like they go to a tournament, and then like, does it sound like Karate Kid yet? I mean, I'm just saying.
I like the Kevin James MMA movie. That was the better one.
What is that?
I can't remember the title of it.
Kevin James trains. Because if you remember the guy in King of Queens,
That's Kevin James.
What? No. I'm sorry.
No, the other guy.
But one of his neighbors is an actual MMA fighter. He's actually a guy that he trains where he trained SEALs and special forces and stuff, and he has all kinds of crazy stories. But I was listening to him, and he's like, he goes, Kevin James knows how to, he's trained and everything. But because he's a bigger guy, that's where they were able to make it. So, and he actually got in pretty good shape for that, to be honest. I never saw.
What the hell was that movie called, though? Knockout, or what the hell was that called? Something like that.
I don't know. IMDb will know.
I don't know why, but American Ninja just popped in my head for some reason.
So we need to get Tony to 100, and apparently a Cobweb Collector only needs 17 to get to 1,000.
Well, we don't have enough people to get Tony close to 100 when he's only at 27. So,
why
you got to be putting Tony down like that, man?
Right?
Tony sucks. Tony knows I hate him.
If we all share it, we could get him there probably. I'm just saying.
Tony and I have a love-hate relationship. He loves me and I hate him.
So it's until
people to get Cobweb to 1,000.
So Cobweb 17 more to something, right?
Close.
Yeah, 17 more.
Cobweb Collector on YouTube. Go follow him.
So Hillary Swank got brought up. Do you remember the boxing movie with?
Yeah.
So I remember
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby, or what was it called?
It was called $1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
$1 Million Baby.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
intense movie.
My ex and I are watching it, right? Because we heard all these good things about it. We didn't know anything about it. Sorry, spoiler if you haven't seen it. And when she falls and hits her head and breaks her neck, we're like,
didn't see that coming.
See that one coming, just paralyzed and done.
Yeah, the tear-jerking thing was how her family was just trying to sponge off of her, and it's just
big time.
Oh, it was so mad. It just made me mad. Watching it. But it's that happens with sports and celebrity and all that.
You need to do heat gun to the ball sack literally to get 100 over.
That's on the only Figs show.
The only Figs.
I think he said that because that heat gun to the ball sack looks horrible. I said, I don't want to get
a bunch of
with hot
a bunch of shorts of stupid human tricks. You'll be there in no time. Yeah.
Heat gun to the ball sack. God damn.
Heat gun to the ball sack. Watch it. I take the heat gun to Mutt's nuts.
Some people have to sell their soul. Other people have to sell their ball sack, man. That's just how it is.
It's not going to smell
good.
Gotta
heat that some bit.
You really grab the heat gun.
Let's see if we can get the wrinkles out.
Right. You got to keep it handy. You never know when it's going to come in handy.
He's trying to heat polish it.
That's how I guess.
Tony, here's what you do, man. You just go get your hair dryer. Go get a hair dryer because I know you have one. I can tell by your hair. Turn that sucker on off camera and just pretend like your heat gun in the ball sack.
Yeah.
You gotta.
He's heating up ball sacks on his YouTube channel. Let's go.
You're not supposed to tell him that on camera. Now everyone knows how it's done.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I did it. So I just don't. Everybody use the hot water, and I do that. Ooh, I do that for the damn classified shoulders to get the shoulders out. The hot water is great for that. The heat gun, you'll start melting something, and then you still have to use a sculpting tool to get it out.
Literally,
and those Joe shoulders are so small.
Dude, Todd C is right.
Right here.
All you got to do, Tony, if you want to get some views, make some shorts right now. Just grab some figures you don't like and melt them things into a freaking puddle, man. Just grab that heat gun and just be like, what we're going to do is we're going to take the paint off right here. And we're just going to, just a little bit more. And soon we're going to redo this. Just melt that thing to a puddle. You'll go viral.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He melted all his figures.
You got an industrial heat gun. It won't take that long anyway.
If you do it with a new figure that people want, oh, man.
Oh,
yeah.
You just gave me an idea for a April Fool's video. I might be
melt the shit out of a head sculpt that everybody wants.
Yeah.
I might be doing one where I like melt down a figure and then just be like, now we're gonna resculpt this and just
start out with like a gridiron gun,
like,
Tony.
Okay, now it's back.
Swap it out with a Hasbro one, and then they'll never know once it's melted.
I've thought about lighting a diorama on fire. I've been thinking about it, but yeah.
I'll light a few Gulliver's figures on fire.
When I was like an older child, that's how I used to play with my toys. I'd build Lincoln log cabins and light those fuckers on fire with the figures hanging out the windows and shit. That was my fun.
I had
Brandon can build a dumpster diorama.
There you go.
Then have a literal dumpster fire, and it can be like where we are with Disney Plus right now.
Right. And then we can have a Phoenix coming out.
Toy Biz Robin. I used him. He was my Jason Todd.
There you go.
You get the waste management. Nice. That is badass, dude.
The Toy Biz Robin was my Jason Todd.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Because he had to die, I melted him on a light bulb.
I love that Randolph has actual garbage bags inside his dumpster. That's the best part of it all.
That's badass. That dumpster is fucking.
That's really Randolph's Coke stash, but we won't talk about that.
These are literally scraps from making diorama pieces in here. And this method is from Euler's Workshop, and it does use a heat gun. You take a normal trash bag.
I watched that one. Yep.
You cut it into squares, and you take a piece of wood or something to kind of squeeze it out. You hit it with a heat gun, and it'll seal it back into a.
Yep. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's got to take a long time to shrink a garbage bag all the way down that small.
No, the garbage bag made for
those are the ones for his bathroom. There's really small garbage can.
We just get them from your village, Larry, and then already made. I'm terrible. It's only Larry.
Oompa Village.
I was thinking of Smurfs, but no.
Fucking Smurf Village. Fucking mushroom.
I can't say shit.
Is there like a blue filter we can put over his square? Because that would be perfect right now.
Oh shit!
It's always fun, but I always feel bad. I don't know.
No, because I think he knows we're joking with him, and we're totally okay with him ragging on us too. So,
believe me,
Larry's gonna go to Joe Fest and just start kicking people's asses. Oh, I'm bored, huh?
I gotta run from him.
I'll
just shield myself with Travis.
I'm gonna start taking knees out and being like, "Who's taller now?"
He ain't taking anyone's ass. He can't get his flip that high.
He's got a big advantage. All he has to do is wait till you guys get drunk and just freaking club you, dude.
Yeah, he's a freaking straight edge.
He's gonna be climbing up bar stools like, "I'll get it out."
Just for
Larry
the
will be like,
record,
"I'll DD for you guys," as he jumps off the car and just drove over a cliff.
For the record, I am from Detroit, and that's where the whole Nancy Kerrigan thing happened. So,
oh my God! Why?
You guys see the lead pipe, and you're like, "What's that?" Oh, it's just part of a dial
our
piece.
roommate is the one that pissed you off. You can go for Travis's knees.
Travis has never made a joke about my height. He's just found other ways to drive.
He's just pissed you off royally that you have to vent to me.
Listen, if I couldn't handle people making short jokes, I shouldn't be on YouTube. I mean, of all the things that I say and do and maybe insult other people, seriously, like, fucking...
Well, you make them too, is I think why people...
I dish it out. But the funny thing is, like, how someone can be upset about their height makes very little sense, unless if you're a little person.
It does make very little sense that you're upset about your height.
But yeah, like again, like people were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, this is how tall I am. Like, it's all fucking fun. I mean, you know.
But you have a sweet advantage because your center of gravity is low. It makes you a better skater. There you go.
And, well, that is very true in some ways. I agree. And when I squat, I don't have to go as far as other people.
That's true.
I gotta go way down. Oh shit! He just goes.
I used to always argue that with people. They're like, "Well, it's not." They'd be like, "Oh, it's easier for you to put up heavier weight because your arms are shorter or your legs are shorter." And I go, "You realize like we still have to go through the same amount of muscle groups." If you go down and come back up, like no matter what, you're still going through the same amount of muscle groups. Mine are just more condensed together.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
condensed,
yes. Anyway.
Anywho,
moving on.
Anyway, today is my daughter's birthday.
What's up, TK?
Oh, sweet.
I better go, guys. I gotta get on the. I'm on the 911 truck tomorrow.
No,
Fun.
For 24 hours.
Ugh.
Trying to save them. Trying to make
All
a
right,
damn
Tony.
difference for these people.
Take
Love
care,
you guys.
Have a great night,
You have
brother.
100,
See you guys later.
you have 100
Have a good one.
subscribers by the end of your shift.
there you go.
Man. I hope
Tell
so.
everyone you're a YouTuber.
It's just what right. All right, man.
Tony's giving someone CPR. Oh, by the way, have you checked out my YouTube channel?
You want to live? Check out my YouTube.
You just wake up in the hospital with like a Tony's Fig sticker on you. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Right.
Scan
Left
this
his
QR
business
code.
card on you.
Did you like the video? Okay.
Hit the like button.
Don't forget to leave a comment.
You know what makes these things charge faster? Liking my video.
Or you could even make it darker than that. He could be like in the ambulance and he's just like they're passed out. He just takes out their phone and goes and follows himself. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's hard out there.
HID, like
Hey,
look at his eyes. Okay, then we're good.
Could you bring down the oxygen mask? I have to get their Face ID so I can get to the YouTube channel.
It doesn't register with the nose thing. Like, let's just get that out.
You see him like with a limp hand putting it on their phone, like, boop. All right, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's going on,
up?
Cobb?
What's up? 17.
What are you
Yeah.
eating?
Some cookies that Bud sent me. No.
Uh-oh.
No,
Are they regular cookies?
no, I'm just playing.
No,
Yeah,
Bud sent them.
Yeah, 17, Corey. I'm counting down.
Nice.
That was fast, dude. That was fast to 1,000.
Fuck. I'm just blown away. Still, I don't know what I did.
You needed something either really right or really wrong. So that's all that matters.
Well, yeah.
Well, a lot of times it's not what you do, it's who you are. I mean, a lot of people will show up just because they like your personality.
Yeah.
Well, that's even weirder to me then.
I mean, at least he's honest.
Although I do got to say that Modi video that was cracking me the hell up.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
great.
it was.
That was
Yeah,
nice.
Got a lot of good words about that today.
Yeah, I like that.
It was fun.
Well, it's almost
Okay, now I
1
had
o'clock
about 5
here,
minutes
and
now.
I'm gonna wander off. I will see you tomorrow, sir. We're gonna record your Infinite playlist for next week.
Yes, I'll be
And,
on before watching Will's show, and then I'll jump on with you guys right after that.
All right. See you crazy kids have fun, and I will see you in the very near future.
All right, have a good night, Jim.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. All right, I gotta read some stuff here. I love this shit, man.
All right,
I'm
let's
gonna be
hear it.
doing this for my channel members soon, but
Is this your bad comments?
Yeah. So
All right, let's hear
this
it.
guy, man, he just made a comment on another video earlier. Now this is on my Shockwave review. It's Final Forever. That's who he is.
Oh.
And it says, "Those eyes are so bad. Why you people keep acting like no big deal? This why food recalls so out of control like most things. Now we all accept anything. Enjoy the fall you helped create."
I think
What?
we're all dumber for reading that.
So Bud sends those cookies to other people too, huh? Hmm.
But
Wow.
so we're okay. So then he wrote earlier on the agent, my agent Helix one. QC issues keep rising. Cause most defend it. I blame them.
Have you checked out this guy's channel?
I have.
Could be drunk.
But
Could be
that,
a
Ask
little.
him if he knows
Or
his name.
7
still.
cookies in, depending on.
Yeah.
that was 3 hours ago. This other one was 50. So he's like watching my videos and obviously getting pissed off.
English motherfucker, do you speak it?
Apparently not.
Which I'm not really sure like what he's trying to say about the Helix, because my Helix clearly had a broken arm that I pointed out.
Mm.
And I don't know what people are expecting. Like, first off, it's a $25 figure, and people, I mean, yeah, $25 is $25, but that's a basic figure. I mean, things have gone up in price.
Yeah, that's not a NECA or a, Super 7 or anything.
I mean, things do break, but it's like I'm doing a review, and first off, the Shockwave video was done. I can't even remember when I did it. I can't people will they'll go watch a video from like 4 or 5 months ago, and they'll point out something I said, and I'm like, fuck if I remember what I said. When I look at my videos that are like a half hour, I'm like, I'm not watching my video again. I'm not wasting a half hour.
I will get people who will comment on a video I did 5 years ago, and they're like, hey, you said this. You know what? I probably did, but I'll tell you what, I have an updated video. Follow this link because I have no idea what I said in that one.
Yeah, I had someone not that long ago ask me the dimensions on something I built like 2 years ago. I'm like,
did I say it in the video?
Yeah,
I sold it. I mean, I don't even know. I have no idea. I don't even have it anymore.
Right. Some of the best comments that I get, because my videos run usually 20 to 30 minutes. I go long. I know it. Some of my favorite videos are when they're like
comments.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, my comments is when they make a comment about something I said in the video, but clearly they didn't finish watching it because I correct it or I change it. So they made a comment, and then I've even had people come back and go, "Oh, I should have watched the whole thing before commenting." Like, wow, do you review a movie halfway in?
I had that the other day when I did that Keldor video because I had the two heads. They looked identical to me. I was like, these heads look the same. I was like, if you guys see a difference, let me know. And then I cut to like 1 second later. I'm like, okay, I looked at the box. This one has a little smirk on it. I had so many comments that said, oh, the second one has a smirk. Second one has a smirk. Second one has a smirk. I'm like, God damn. I was like, you didn't watch a second after that? Basically, everybody's just excited. Like, oh, I know the answer.
It happens, dude. Like, I was on last night. I was on Facebook, and someone was talking about their Eternia and how like their mailer box, not the Eternia box, the cardboard mailer box was all messed up. And someone simply said, like, not, just saying that that's the point of the box. The box is there to make sure the toy gets to you intact, which is true. It's true. I get, like, we all collect and we all, we want something mint on card, and that's fine. But like the if you break it down, the point of the box is to get it to you intact. And people were up in arms. Like, no, there's a $600 toy in the box should be pristine. FedEx doesn't give shit how much you spent on the toy.
Yeah.
They're going to throw it in the back of the truck, whether it was $5 or $5,000. They don't care. And that's what people aren't getting. And it's like, I even said it like this. I'm like, if you go to Office Depot and buy a $600 desk and the box is fucked up, but the desk is okay, you don't give a shit.
And the box did its job.
Exactly. They're like, no, it's a $600 collector's item. You're right. A $600 collector's item that is meant to be displayed outside of the box. And yes, it has gorgeous artwork on it. That's why they included a poster of the gorgeous artwork inside the box.
Hey, don't hate on an extreme inbox collecting community, dude.
I'm not. I'm simply saying the point of the box is to get it to you, not to display.
You know what? That should be the next event in the X Games.
Yeah, but here's the problem though.
Without destroying it.
If you look at some of the old toys, vintage toys, like G.I. Joes, if they're in the mailer boxes that are mint, they're actually worth more money. So maybe that person, as Radnom said, is an extreme inbox collector. So he's in the box collector. Right?
I was really freaking joking about that, but it doesn't surprise me that exists.
You know what? I even made that comment and said, I get it. That affects the resaleability. But That is not Mattel or Hasbro or McFarlane's problem or issue or concern when they're making this. They're worried about how to get it to you without it being destroyed. Not, can we get to him and he can sell it to someone else?
And I've seen this in the G.I. Joe community numerous times, and it drives me nuts, right? And someone recently had posted the box of some, I forget what it was that they got, but the box was completely destroyed, right? Mm-hmm. And he was pissed, and he's like, Hasbro should fix this. And a few people were like, and I was one of them that said, that's on UPS, FedEx, or the mail. That has nothing to do with them. Absolutely. They did not crush the box before Hasbro Pulse sent it out and said, here you go. That happened in transit. So go be pissed.
It's just like when Walmart mailed out all those stupid G.I. Joe figures in bubble envelopes, right? Now, granted, Hasbro should have used better cardboard on the card, but the way they showed up, it wouldn't have mattered when they were in a fucking bubble envelope.
I said it in my video of the Skeletor and the V-Friends thing. Like, the mailer box that it came in, like, it came fine, but there was one piece of tape keeping it shut, and that was it. And it wasn't like packing tape; it was like Scotch tape, and that was broken. I was like, Mattel, you could you can afford more tape. Like, not saying that you needed to
Yeah, they could have upped their tape game a little bit.
That's it. That's all. That was my complaint. Not that my mailer box is you put a packing slip on the box that you ship it on. Like, how dare you? I don't give a shit about that. Use a couple more pieces of tape, guys.
And I had done a video when Hasbro Pulse sent out the Zartans and the Storm Shadows, the retro ones, in a box that was too small. And they were just completely crushed. Now, to me, that's a problem because this is Hasbro Pulse. They know that these are collectibles, right? And It doesn't matter, if BBTS did it, Entertainment Earth. When it's Walmart or Target, they're looking at it as this is a toy. So, I don't think they should try and crush something in there. But let's be honest. I mean, for the most part, no one would really care. If your box for your new fan came all damaged, you don't care because you need a fan to keep you cool. But when Hasbro Pulse did that, and I did a whole video, Hasbro Pulse doesn't give a shit. Now, don't get me wrong. I knew it was a cheap plug, easy way to get, just a video out there.
Right.
But something like that, they are for collectibles. They shouldn't be looking at that and going, we can fit these in there. No. You know that people are paying extra for their premium. Put it in a box that fits everything.
And the thing I loved about this whole argument was Pixel Dan said it in his video yesterday about Eternia, was that when they shipped Snake Mountain, they did the exact same way, and no one had an issue. I have my mailer box and my other box right there, and it got shipped in that box, address label right on the side of the box, dented and all that. No one had an issue. I get
my Snake Mountain never showed up. That's my problem.
I get that, Snake Mountain was $80 and Eternia was $600. I get that, but that still does not change the point.
Yeah, no,
of what the box is for.
If the gripe was, hey, you know what? Mattel sent out this Eternia that we paid $600 for, and they used the box that holds Eternia as the shipping box. You would have everybody get pissed off.
Absolutely.
But they you know what? What for the Hiss tank, they ended up putting the Hiss tank in the mailer box and then put that in another box because people had bitched about the Sky Striker and stuff. Again, to be fair, totally overkill.
I think that's part of the problem is that with the figures that you get from Mattel Creations, you usually get the mint on card in a mailer box. That mailer box goes in another box and it gets sent to you. And so they're expecting that. It's all good and fine when it's 11 inches tall.
And very light.
Very light. Not 4 feet by 3 feet by a foot or whatever the fuck it is. Like
it's freaking
add
gigantic.
more cardboard on top of that. Every layer of cardboard ups the amount that you had to pay someone to build this box. And like people don't think about that. Like I'll tell you right now, I work in a warehouse. I don't care how the box looks of the sofa I'm sending to this person. The problem is the concern is the sofa inside protected? Is the refrigerator inside protected? Is the nightstand, the dresser, the desk, the whatever protected? This box has a gouge on it. Great. Is the desk okay? Yes. Why does it matter?
So my question now is, are there in-box sofa collectors?
I know, right?
That would be fucking.
Well, I get pissed when I order a new sofa and that plastic bag they put around it's ripped.
You're going to get a message from somebody, Lawrence. Somebody's going to piss.
That's what my coffee.
You know the fucked up thing? There are people that do get mad, and they're like, "No, I wanted this opened in front of me." Okay, well, we need to put the legs on it, so I can't do that at your house. I have to do it here because I don't come to your house.
That attorney, I keep telling everybody too. Like you see everybody's pictures out there, videos and stuff, but unless you have it, that thing is so huge. Like even pictures I try and take, it doesn't seem like it's doing it justice. I tried to put Castle Grayskull next to it. No. I'm like, still in person, that thing is so.
See, I had the vintage one when I was a kid, and so I have some idea of how big it is, but like.
Well, this one's bigger, yeah.
Yeah, this one's bigger than that one was, but it's still huge.
Yeah, I look out my bedroom door, I have it in the dining room table. I can see it when my door's open. I just look at it like, God, what the hell am I going to do with this now?
So, my local shop.
Brad, did you finish the books from last night?
No, I didn't finish them. This set.
Oh, you still got the pink one?
Yeah, I haven't finished painting it yet.
That's Barbie's book.
That one still needs another coat. I could throw a hot pink one in there. It might be funny. This is what I was working on just now. I don't know why. I don't need them or anything, but I was just like, maybe I'll make a little mini building set backdrop thing.
Well, that's to go with your Rad Knobs neighborhood.
Or that. Yeah, or that. I'm going to make some more of these, though. This was super easy, and I was like, you know what? That is not too bad. Just a little scroll.
Cool. What's the dimensions on that?
Hold on. And for you,
let's get the millimeters out.
24 millimeters by 19.9 with a thickness roughly of 1.7 millimeters.
And is that Super Sculpey or Sculpey 2?
This is Super Sculpey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know what I have to do.
You got it.
The only thing I don't like about the Sculpey is that, like, I tried to use it a couple times on weapons, and the weapons cannot handle the oven.
Okay.
That's why you use a hairdryer.
It will shrink.
What will shrink, the weapon?
Yes. The plastic that the weapon, because it's not made, I don't know why. I had it happen.
If you're using thin enough Sculpey, though, you can cure it with a hairdryer.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
you can do that. But like I said, you can boil it. But also for weapons, because weapons tend to be thin, really like epoxy sculpt is better.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. The Milliput. I would use Milliput instead. Because the only thing that sucks about it is it takes like 3 or 4 hours to cure versus the epoxy or the Super Sculpey that you can put in the oven for 20 minutes and it's done and you can just keep going.
When I used to customize a lot of figures, I'd put Sculpey right on the figure. And of course, you can't put a plastic action figure in an oven. So
you can.
Wait.
It shrinks a little bit, but you can.
Yeah.
You can. It's not a good idea, but you can.
Yes, not a good idea. And I used to cure it all the time with a hairdryer.
Yeah, I used to throw them in a boil. I actually have a pot that's just for boiling.
I don't know why I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to check out. I got a bunch of stuff to do in the morning, but it was fun hanging.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Hyper.
Take care, man.
Later,
guys.
See you again.
Talk to you guys later.
What is Sculpey?
It's like
this is Sculpey, Lawrence. It's polymer clay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have some that's like the name brand. They have off brands too, and you can get them in all kinds of different colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you go to like Hobby Lobby, Lawrence, you could go to the like the clay aisle, and Sculpey has, you know, neon colors, purple, pinks, blacks, reds, whatever you want.
But if you already have paint, you can just buy like a gray or a beige,
I usually
and then just paint it.
White. I went to Hobby Lobby for the first time today. It's
bad. Well, it was Saturday.
I made a when I did my Skeletor series, I did the CGI Skeletor, and I did his hood and all that in one purple, and then there was another purple for like different parts. But they had different purples that you use, and you just put it in the oven for like, I think it's like 125 or something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's low heat.
It's a low heat, and you do it for like 15-20 minutes, and it cures, and it's done.
But that's why you can use a hairdryer, because it doesn't take a lot of heat to cure the.
And that totally makes sense. And I don't know why I didn't think about that, but
or a heat gun if you keep it far enough away.
Yeah. Well, mine's always right here.
Corey, everybody likes a little ass. Nobody likes a smart ass.
But I'm really good at it.
Anybody here know anything about turtles?
They're green.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
No, not as much as I do that. No. I picked up these at Ross. Side at
Michelangelo, yeah.
They had all four of them, so I was like, "Oh crap! I don't really collect turtles, but they had all four." And then
I can't tell you what series that's from or whatever, but
I know I don't know nothing about series. I was Hyperdose just left. I think I might be able to ask him, but I have to hold out.
That looks cool. Like it looks like it's got extra articulation at the.
Yeah, even the hands, the thumbs and stuff move on it. So the fingers move.
How much were they, Cobb?
11 each, I think.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, they had all four of them. I was like, because I seen two of them up on the shelf. I was like, oh man, if they had all four, maybe I'd think about it. The guy pointed out
Aaron,
to me, like, oh, the other two.
The Toy Enhancer said those are pretty decent turtles. So,
okay. Yeah, I tried to look them up. I saw Pixel Dan had a video on them from 11 years ago. I'm like, they must have reissued them or something then, because the video that I watched were these exact ones, but 11 years
down
ago.
south. Do you know what turtle line those are? Are those like original remakes or something?
I got Raph. I got all four of them.
Nice.
You got all four, Raph. Nice.
Yeah.
What scale are they, Cobb?
They're 1/12. They look like as tall as my Masterverse, like maybe closer to the 7 inch.
They're like 7, 8 inch.
6 or 7, I'm sure. Like,
yeah, they're definitely 6 inch at least.
Yeah, they're at least 6 inch. I'm thinking maybe closer to that 7, because I was like, man, they look like.
Yeah, they might be 7. Look at that's a pretty big card and a pretty big bubble too, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I always said I was going to maybe get into turtles more one day because I loved turtles when I was a kid. But I didn't know which line, because there's a million of them out there. Freaking everybody makes them. These are by Playmate. So I don't know. I was like, oh, all four of them are together. They're on sale. I'm like, I picked them up.
What are you making glow, Lawrence?
Nothing. I was looking to see if what's her name? Thrace. If these
yes, I have the whole set.
These effects would glow.
Oh,
I was hoping.
Are they just translucent?
Yeah, they're just translucent. Stupid. Why make translucent if it's not going to be glowing?
Throw it away. That's garbage. Jeez, who wants that shit?
Aaron got a better deal than I did. $30 for the whole set.
Yeah.
God, this figure is just so good. Ooh, her eyes.
Most of the time when you go to a flea market nowadays, you're paying eBay prices.
Right. Everybody's a seller.
I posted a link to this video in this Michigan toy community Facebook group that I'm in. And I tagged Sergeant Reds, get Sergeant Red, get your, latest Mythic Legions. And one comment, and the guy's like, most of the stuff in that store is eBay prices. And I hate people that don't understand. Like, first off, all their stuff that's new is regular price. A couple more dollars than,
yeah,
Walmart. But that's how small. But it's like, all his stuff in there. If you talk about like vintage GI Joes, yeah, they're expensive. They're all nice. They're all mint, and eBay is what dictates the price.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't understand what people think like when they go into it. Like if you're collecting, it's an expensive.
Yeah,
it's an expensive hobby. Real expensive if you're collecting vintage, but
yeah,
like who cares? Like you can't expect these figures to be $3 again if you want a vintage GI Joe figure.
Well, especially if you're walking into a vintage / new toy store, right? I mean, like if you're going to a flea market or a garage sale, you're hoping that you're not going to pay eBay prices.
Yeah.
But nowadays you are, because that's where people get their pricing from. People will just go to eBay to look at the prices of the recently sold items, and that's what they're going to put it on for, unless they just want to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's what it's worth, because I've had so many people at my work ask me before, like, how much is that? How much do you think that figure is worth, or how much you think this is worth? I'm like, it's worth what someone will pay.
Yep, exactly.
I don't care what the book says, what eBay has it listed at. If eBay has it listed at 60, but if someone will only pay 40 for it, it's worth 40.
Yep.
If eBay, if the book says it's worth 80, but someone will pay 120 for it, it's worth 120.
Yep.
But
I get that, and I'm cool with that, like for stores and stuff. And if someone's going to price it that way at their garage sale or flea market, that's fine. But you don't go to a garage sale or flea market looking for that price. You go to hope you'll find something at a super deal.
Yeah. When my ex would try and sell some stuff at like the yard sales, she'd always be like trying to get like top like what it's worth, rather than. People are coming through these things to get rid of stuff. They don't want to spend, $40 on the wagon. They want to get it for $20 because
that's how my aunt is. She's always pricing this shit so high at garage sales. Then she bitches that she doesn't sell anything. I'm like, you got everything overpriced.
My friend's wife is from Honduras, and she does garage sales all the time. Like, she's got the clothing racks and everything in the garage. And it's funny, like, for that community in Texas here, like the more Hispanic community, she says they don't even want to like look at it too much unless it looks kind of like, if it's too neat or too store looking, they're not really interested. You gotta like put it on piles, put it on tables to make it like a hunt, and it's got to be bulk price.
Wow,
what an interesting concept! Like that's very interesting. Like. That's how people think, and the fact that she knows that—that's
her insight. She's done hundreds of garage sales, so I'm just saying.
No, but I'm saying like that's very interesting to think to hear it. Where it's like she's done so many, and she realizes like people don't want to see them on racks; they want to see them because they want to search for something and feel like they found a deal.
Yeah.
I don't really want to hunt for the GI Joe figures I need. I want them just to be there.
It's like when you're digging in your backyard and you find your parents' backyard and you find an action figure you dig up.
Yeah.
When I used to collect the vintage 12-inch GI Joes, I went to this garage sale, and it started at 8 a.m. Right, the garage sale opened up, and in the newspaper, back when you had to find that kind of stuff in newspapers, it said there was 2 vintage GI Joes available. And most of the time, I'm like, okay, they're probably just real American heroes, but these were, I was collecting 60s and 70s Joes. So I go to the garage sale like 7:45, right? It doesn't open till 8 o'clock. And I go out to the driveway and I asked the dude, like, I just wanted to see what the Joes were, and make an offer. And he goes, oh, they're already sold. I was like, what do you mean they're already sold? He goes, yeah, there was a line for them at 6 o'clock this morning, and it turned into an auction.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Want to hear a funny story about vintage GI Joe figure?
Mm-hmm.
If it's about a shipwreck and a flag, no.
No, it's about a vintage 12-inch figure.
Okay, let's hear it.
So my uncle that got me the hand grenade, he gave me 2 vintage GI Joe figures. So probably about maybe 10 years ago, I decided to sell them off, right? So I sold one. I think he paid like $125 for it. He was in decent shape, right? So I go into work, and my boss, I give him the address and everything. I watched him type it up. He put the label on it, and it went out right that day. A couple days later, the office manager says, "Hey, did you ship out a G.I. Joe figure?" I'm like, "Yeah, Tim did everything. Why?" "It's at one of our clients." "What?" "Yeah, he called and said, yeah, I think I got the wrong thing." Then I had to contact the person from eBay and said, "Listen, something happened. I shipped this out through work." And he goes, and I go, "I'll be shipping this out." He's like, "Yeah, I have your toner." So we know who it was, even though she won't admit it, because she's an old, bitter person in life, right? And she's the owner's, ex-sister-in-law, but sister-in-law, right? She went in and she swapped, like, she saw that it was something personal, and she swapped the tags.
Wow.
So I go out there. It's literally like, I don't know, probably like 10 minutes. I have to go get the figure, and he's just kind of laughing about it. But I'm like stressed out because, man, some guy just paid me like $125 and then whatever shipping was. And he was cool about it. And we sent him a tag. He never sent the toner back. But imagine that, like, you fucking get this toner and it's like, are you fucking serious? Like, I just.
Yeah, this guy just ripped me off.
Right.
Yeah. Which in actuality, the toner is probably worth more.
I was going to say toner's not cheap, but
yeah, but you'd have to have the right person to sell it to because it was for a copy machine.
Yeah,
but it was like this woman, and she's an older woman. She's just miserable. She wants to make everyone's life miserable, and then she doesn't understand why everyone hates her. And after that, they implemented that you have to tape over the tag so someone can't pull it off. Because she was like, I can't imagine who did it. I'm like, well, I watched my boss do it and put the tag on it. Right? And toner, like the toner wasn't even done at the same time. It would have been done later on in the day. So it was either the office manager who would have no reason to, or this woman. And I'm just like, you fucking bitch.
I don't know who would have done it. Probably the person that works in shipping.
Well, no, she was the receptionist. I don't know what she did.
Oh,
but like my boss did it first thing in the morning, but then they did the toner later on. So I watched him tag it up, put it up on the thing, but she must have went going through it and she saw that it was personalized going out for me.
He thinks he can just use this as his own private mail room.
right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Getting free shipping.
But I could even imagine.
I can imagine her being like the slug on Monsters Inc. Wazowski, did you punch in today?
So, another story about this woman. Oh my God. I was there and I witnessed this and I could not believe that she said this. So we had it was called the Cage. That's where the toner was. And this girl that they hired, she was a bitch. She threatened to send me home, and I went, "What?" I'm like, "You're not my boss. Like, you can't send me home." Like, she was doing dispatch for me. I'm like, "You can't send me home." She's like, "Oh, you don't think so?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can't. But she was black, and this old lady. She's like, the girl had gone up. Erica was her name. She's in the cage, like getting something. And I'm sitting out there because it was by where we're at. And Brenda goes, "Oh, it's like a monkey in the cage." And I went, and Erica goes, "What did you say?" She's like, "Oh, you're like a monkey in the cage." And I went, "Oh my God, she did not fucking say that." And she repeated like 3 fucking times. And I watched this lady, and she was my age, or literally, she came down furious. And then Brenda's like, "I don't know what the problem is." I'm like, "Really, Brenda? You don't know what the problem is. You don't know what you just said." And she was like, and oh my God, I mean, it was so, but dude, the girl, Erica, she was nuts because her tire got slashed, and she went and told the boss, like the owner. She's like, I know Brenda did it. Brenda has a knife on her desk. Now, as much as I hate Brenda, it was a paring knife.
How big is this company? This is a small company, right?
Oh, very small.
Yeah.
We were very small at the time.
This sounds like someplace I used to work where it's just really weird. Like that's like really when you have a small family business, sometimes things get really weird because the rules are very loose. Yeah. I mean, I remember I was a dispatcher at a small delivery company. We had an operations manager that would freaking do coke at his desk, and I would find him like hiding underneath his desk in the office and shit. And it was just crazy stuff. I mean, like the boss wanted me to go get strippers. I mean,
still there?
It went out of business, man, a long time ago. I couldn't look. I would have died if I stayed there that much longer. I was drinking so much. I was stoned all the time. Freaking, yeah. It was crazy.
I've been at my company now. This will be 23 years. I started on a Monday. Thursday, end of the day. Guy's ex-wife she worked, so one guy worked there, his ex-wife also worked there, right? They were not together, but she would take him back to his, I don't know if he had an apartment or he lived in a hotel. He was an alcoholic, but not a condo. It was, well, I'm talking to my boss at the time who just hired me, and there was a couple other people. He was a paramedic, and he left being a copy. He went to be a paramedic, then he came back. She comes running out. There's something wrong. What? And she's like, I was waiting for Jerry, and then he was in the bathroom, and then I heard something hit the floor. He's not answering. The manager runs over, just kind of rips the door off, because it wasn't like a heavy door for the bathroom. And he's laid out on the ground. He pulled him over. This guy was an alcoholic. Like, I didn't believe, like when I was told, like, he starts drinking about 10. He'll be, he was a functioning alcoholic, right? You could smell the alcohol as my boss was giving him CPR. Fourth day of work, dude pops a brain aneurysm and dies in the bathroom.
Wow.
And you think to yourself, this must be a pretty stressful place to work. I better quit.
What's funny is that, so Jerry, so that was the guy that died. He was friends with the two owners. Like, they knew him. And there were the stories that they tell me, and I knew the guy for 4 days, right? But they had there was a loft, but then there were the sales room and demo room it was just just the ceiling tiles, right? So drop down ceiling, but a really far drop down ceiling because the building. We kept finding empty beer cans up there to the time we left. I started in 2002, and we left, I think, 6 years ago. We kept finding beer bottles. There were so many beer cans that he would just chuck them up there, and you'd go up to the loft to get something, and you could just see them all lined up.
Dude, I used to just drink at my desk at that company. I mean, it was like,
oh, they let him do it because he didn't drive. So so his wife drove him, or his ex-wife drove him home. There's been so many. I mean, if you had a place for 23 years, like you said, a smaller company where there's a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
These dispatchers would get this idea that they were my boss, and we had this one, and this was when my ex was working there. She was pregnant with Andrew, and so the owner said, "Hey, you know what? Do you think that Lawrence's girlfriend would want to work under the table while she's pregnant or whatever?" So she's out there she's talking to the office manager, this girl Lisa, who drove me nuts. She would say, "Well, it's only this far. Why aren't you there yet?" Now this is when we had Nextel phones, and she'd start
Yeah.
You should be there by now. And I'm
like,
what?
You're using Mapscos too? Like the map books? Maybe they don't have them.
I use regular maps. I learned how to read regular maps when I delivered medical supplies. But this lady and I, we did not get along, Lisa. And we started getting into it, right? At her desk. And I finally yelled at her and I stormed away, right? So here was here was her room, and it went out into our shop, and I walked all the way down. Now, if someone yells and they storm away, don't you usually go, oh, fuck, I'm gonna let this thing. I get down to the end of my shop, and she comes through and starts yelling at me. And I turned around and I went off. I mean, I've never yelled and screamed like that. And we got into it. She fucking followed me after I was furious, right? Obviously talked to my boss about it. You know, he didn't really care because he didn't like her anyway. That night at home, I'm talking to Susan, my ex, my girlfriend at the time. And she's like, yeah, I'm sitting there talking to Tamara. And all of a sudden she starts hearing you screaming at the top of your lungs. And she looks at me and goes, are you going to go out there and see what's going on? And she goes, I've never heard of that man. I'm not going out there. And mind you, my ex has no problem with confrontation. All right. But she's like, I've never heard you so. I'm like, oh my God. And that woman walked around, Lisa, she walked around for like a week. You guys don't even know what's coming because she went to the owner. We finally had this meeting. The owner never brings it up. He never brings it up to me or anything. I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like, why do you follow someone? Like you're looking for a fight.
Yeah.
And at that point, I wasn't even on steroids.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been a corticosteroid week. That's true. Been way worse. I think man, I don't know. This might come across a little sexist, but I think sometimes that men know that they might have to deal with a physical confrontation if something like that, so they would just give time to cool off. Women don't feel that same thing, so they're like, oh, no, I'm just gonna get them, kind of thing, and not think about it. But
yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. And she came out looking for a fight, and at that moment, I was not willing to back down. But I didn't even give it a chance. And it wasn't like she was like cowering; she was yelling and screaming too. And again, like I think it was just probably the four of us in the office. But when Susan told me, she was like, Tamara was like, you can go out there and calm him down. She's like, I'm not going out there.
Well, dude, I got a lot of stories, but I feel like I probably shouldn't even share them on online. So.
Oh, I'm sure there's. Oh my God, I got some crazy ass stories. Like one was I would never tell anyone I've seen everything. It's just a phrase. Oh, I've seen everything, right? I'm at this pawn shop, right? And I'm talking to it was the owner's brother, and we're talking about the copier, right? And he goes, I bet you've seen a lot. I go, oh, I've seen everything. And he looks straight at me and goes, I bet you've never seen anyone commit suicide by cutting their head off with a chainsaw in their mom's basement. Yes, that's what he said. I bet you've never seen anyone commit suicide by cutting their head off with the chainsaw in their mom's basement. And he turned and walked down the hall. And luckily, the owner, who was his brother, his office was right there. He came walking out, and he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, he was a Detroit police officer, and that was one of the scenes that he was called to. And I'm like, I thought we were talking about the fucking copier. Like broken plastic knives or things. Like, I wasn't talking. I've never seen little Vietnamese kids come across with fucking bombs strapped to them either. I've never seen everything. Never again will I ever tell someone. And it was clear this guy had done it numerous times, but he said it so matter-of-factly, and then just turned around and walked down. Now
the thing is, do you think he was mad, or you think he was just messing with you?
No. No, he said he just goes right to that. Like, but it wasn't. Like when you're trying to one up someone and it's like, oh, I've seen this. Like, oh, I've seen this. Oh, I've seen, like he just went right to that, and you're like, well, I
That's his.
I can't top that.
Yeah, the finishing move.
And when you said it, I was at a.
I'm gonna get out of here, guys.
All right,
Corey. Have a good night.
Be leaving in there too.
Have a good night. See y'all. Be safe.
Yeah.
So when
Lawrence is thinking, I've seen toner get jammed. I've seen people stick things in there they're not supposed to.
I've seen tacos in this thing. Pizza.
Ass pictures. Yeah, I've seen it all.
You ever see a rat?
No, rat droppings. Rat droppings in the machine in a Detroit halfway house. But I was recently, and the reason why, I've seen everything. I was recently at a place that had a copier of ours, and they did video games and pool tables and everything. And him and I were talking about things and things that we've seen. And he said, yeah, one of the things that we saw was that a pool hall, the balls weren't ejecting. So they called us in for service. And he goes, I went out there. And the reason why they weren't injecting was I pulled this big bag of cocaine out. But it was so big that they had to call the authorities to come out. And that's the type of stuff I thought we were discussing. And man, this guy went to fucking suicide, which I don't even know. I'm like, the fact that his brother was right there and just kind of came out of that office. And I'm like, and I said from that point, I will never say that I said that. Because someone is going to go to the extreme where you're like,
anytime anybody asks Larry that question, now he has to ask a confirmation question first. Are we just talking about the copier or are we talking about general?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just but again, you work at a place for 23 years, going in and out of offices and meeting people. It's you get to see a lot of things. The other thing that I tell people, I go, there's people that know about my kids. They've known me before that. So, and I never got their name. And I go, you have a window when you can say, oh I totally forgot your name. But when your kid's 17 and you've been seeing this client for that long and you've talked to them and you still don't know their name, you can't go, excuse me, I'm sorry. I really never got your name in the past 18 fucking years.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you. And what's crazy is I remember in my 20s, I would remember everything. But now I forget really important things about people. They'll tell me, my mother died from cancer. And I'm like, oh, how's your mom? I don't remember. So I try to know that I'm not going to remember everything about everyone. Because you just know so many people at some point that it's like, how could you remember these details? You haven't seen someone 3 or 4 years. It gets weird.
Yeah. That's why when you're young and your parents go through every name they know before they get to yours, and you're like, "Oh, Mom, you're stupid. You named me. How do you forget my name?" Then you get to be their age, and you're like, "Okay, that's how."
Oh, yeah. We've done that numerous times. Numerous times. Hell, I do it to the dog sometimes.
Yeah.
When I call him Sheldon, which is the kid's dog, that we had together that they have at their mom's. We used to have a company inside one of the GM plants, so I had to go through security. Now, listen, security is seeing a lot of people. Okay, I get that. I don't expect you to remember my name, but I went there enough. There was this security guard, this little lady, right? Every time that I would go up there, I don't expect you to know my name, but I'd been in there enough. She acted like she had never seen me before. And I'm thinking, okay, you've seen me 10 times in the past 6 months. You have to at least recognize my face. I don't expect you to know my name or even what I'm there for. But you act like you've never seen me before every fucking time. Are you like this with everyone? Does everyone come in, you just have a blank stare?
Maybe
it's possible. Some people are like that.
It is possible.
Some people
because believe me, if someone wanted to break in, she was not stopping anyone.
Yeah.
They really need
another weird thing about being somewhere that long is people passing, and just having so many people that you worked with that passed away. I mean, there's probably I don't know, 50 people for me or something like that. I mean, it's quite a few people.
We actually had they were no longer a client of ours. There was a shooting. Someone went back to their work, and they were fired, and they ended up killing the receptionist. And it was an old lady, and I remember coming into work, and my boss was like, "Hey, do you remember so and so?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know about that shooting?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like they shot the receptionist because she pretty much ran, and it wasn't even the one that the guy was mad at, you know. And I was like, "Oh shit, that's crazy." We had a salesperson that left, and he left, got into his selling insurance and stuff, and all he ever wanted was a Rolex, and he ended up marrying a very heavy woman, and only because she was rich. And my boss still had like insurance because I went into his office one day and he's like, "Here, read this," and I'm reading it, and I'm like, Dan died, and he's like, "Yeah, like that's from his wife because Tim had done work for him." So this other guy, Chris, comes in. Now, Chris and Tim have been there longer than I have, and they're still there. And I'm like, "Hey, Chris, read this." And he's reading it, and he goes, "Dan died?" And he just blurts it out like, "That's what it's." He got cancer, and it was just like aggressive, and he was gone within like a year, I believe.
Yeah, there was a guy who I'll tell a couple, but then I gotta get off. And since we're going down the dark path, the old man death, Grim Reaper stories.
Wait. First off, we started the broadcast off talking about my dead mom.
No, we're okay.
Dead dad.
Tell a dark story you're at now. I'm sure we're this.
Okay. Which one to do? Okay, so one guy, he's out. He had cancer, and he had he was recovering for a while. He comes to work. He's working for a couple of weeks. He seems like he's doing okay, but he had absolutely no money. Like, he was just busted. He was in and out of work for a year. He was fighting, and we used to talk poker. Smart guy, really sharp. I helped him out. I gave him some money. I had some extra savings. Things were good at that point. This is the economy was booming. It was like 15 years ago. And gave him some cash just to, don't worry about it, man. He gave me a hug. He said, "Man, that's righteous." And he died 3 days later. Freaking weird, dude. Like, he was totally fine. Well, you're laughing, Larry. You're horrible. You're a horrible human being. So
it's how you said it. You're like, "Give him some money." Dead 3 days later.
Dude, I was like, what
was on
crap
those
happened to Dave?
Radnom? Jesus.
Yeah. No, it's just so strange. And one other one that's a dark one. This one's worse. When I was a dispatcher, this guy said, "Hey, I need to go home." This guy only worked for us for maybe like 2 months or something. He's like, "I need to go home. My lunch is going to have to be a little extra long. I got to go home and take care of my kid." I said, "Sure." I asked the boss. He's like, "Whatever." He goes home, and we never hear from him again. And we see him in the paper. He went home to he was changing his infant child's diaper and slammed his head on the counter, and the kid died.
Damn.
And he was on drugs while he did it. And he went to jail, obviously. Never heard nothing ever again. So that was crazy.
Oh, that's so
awesome. The weird thing about death, real quick, and I will let you go, Radnom, is like how many people you actually like hear about that died, and then you're like, "Damn, I just talked to him like 2 days ago. Or I just talked to him last week," right? And it's like when you're talking to that person, like you hear all the time, when you talk, you hear all the time what people say, make sure you cherish the people you love, blah, 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 because you never know when tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, whatever, right? Yeah. Then you hear about these people dying. You're like, damn, I just talked to that dude like 3 days ago. What the fuck?
I haven't had that. I mean, other than my mom, really, like I haven't. And again, 48 years old, people are going to start, dropping. And it's like,
yep.
Luckily for me, I haven't had that that I can think of, like anyone that, I just talked to them or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be coming. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm going to do one more. Okay, one more.
All right.
I hired, and then I'm out. I hired this lady, and I was probably about 30. She was maybe 42, and she was very flirty. And she was like flirting, and she's like touching my leg, and she called me like Pawpaw and stuff. And it was like, whatever. Wow. Okay. So, but Pawpaw. I see her.
Random Pawpaw.
Random Pawpaw. I see her at work. She's outside. She waves to me. I'm like, hey, I go home. And then the next day, fell off of her balcony 3 stories up. Gone.
Damn. Remind me never to meet you in person, Rad. Now people
die. It was a weird year, actually. But yeah, she was like maybe 42, 43 years old. It's crazy. Wow. Yeah. Because I had to send flowers because I was in HR at that time.
Yeah. So. There's a warehouse I was working at, and Valentine's Day, dude was going through a divorce, and he decided to take his cherry picker all the way up to the very top and use a safety harness strap, wrap around his neck, and jump off his cherry picker.
Wow.
Freaking crazy. And then we all got shoved to the side. Hundreds and hundreds of us had to go out through the back door. Work got called. We all got paid for the rest of the day, but everybody had to evacuate. It was freaking nuts seeing something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know there was a guy when I was younger, so I was in my early 20s.
All right, last one. Go ahead.
He was a Hot Wheels collector, and I had seen someone, and I'm like, hey, how's so-and-so doing? How's so-and-so doing? They're like, oh, he died. And I went, what? And they're like, yeah, I want to say it was at Kmart. And they were like, yeah, he went to go get the stuff, and he came out and dropped dead in the aisle. Like, holy shit, dude. And he's a Hot Wheel collector, so someone probably took whatever he had in his hand.
Right?
I hope he found a couple of T-hunts before he bit it, man. I mean,
all right, really nice
all right, Red. Now have a good one.
Take care. I got work in the morning, everyone.
All right. Good luck.
Good hang out.
I'll tell you, you're talking about how like when you get to be, our age, Cobb's not too far behind us, but it's like people start, passing away and shit, right? People that So like 6 months ago, my mother's literally a narcissistic sociopath, right? So she's a pain in the ass to deal with. And like 6 months ago, I'm talking to her on the phone and she's crying to me about how all of her friends have been sick, and so just had a stroke and blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, Mom, you're going to have to learn to accept it. You're 78 years old, right? All your friends, all your family is going to start passing away, getting sick. That's just happens with age, right? And I wasn't being like mean about it, but I was saying you got to learn how to accept that because you can't live, with anxiety or being depressed because everybody around you is sick or dying, right? She got so offended that I actually told her, oh, you think I'm old? I'm like, bitch, you're 78 years old. What the fuck's the matter? Speaking of the other side about death.
A couple of your favorites.
I had this lady that used to work. Oh, nice.
Not much Lawrence loves Slaughter and Bret Hart.
Yeah. I had this lady that worked for me at the last company I worked for. She worked for me for like 8 years, but she'd been there forever, right? She was handicapped. They had like built, like a special desk for her to work at and stuff. She couldn't walk. And she had like some, degenerative, disease, right? She was a awesome lady, right? I mean, like smart as hell. She had shit memorized that you were just like, how the fuck do you know that, right? That type of girl, right? Well, she was married to this guy forever who was a millionaire, but never let them shop anywhere but at the Goodwill. So they always looked dirty, right? It was just that type of guy, right? He was crazy. He worked at Lowe's. Her name was Linda. So anyway, after she retired, because she couldn't make it to work anymore, because she just couldn't do it because of her disease. Like a month after she retired, she passed away. And we're all at work and we're all sad because Linda had worked there for 35 years. Most of us had known her for 10 or 15. We're all sad talking about, how awesome she was and blah, 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 blah. I went to Lowe's after work. Her husband, who was an alcoholic, was at work at Lowe's the day that his wife died.
Wow.
His name was Larry, by the way, as a matter of fact.
Those Larrys are cold-hearted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So another, this is crazy. Is that my mom died in '89. Now, in my dad's family, there's 7 siblings. 6 boys and 1 girl. And up until about 4, maybe 5 years ago, my aunt's boyfriend passed away. He was the only other significant other that has passed away. Like none of my dad's brothers have, although his oldest brother is very, very sick. Now, he had a brother that only lived to be like a year old because he had holes in his heart. So you can't really count him, unfortunately. But like none of the other ones, like there've been no one's lost parents. I'm like the only one still, and like my aunt's boyfriend, they didn't have kids together that are cousins, But it's like, it's amazing that it's been that long. I mean, 89, and none of them. I mean, it's good. I mean, I don't wish that for any of my cousins to have to go through it. But, the laws would just say. Now, on my mom's side, exact opposite. Exact opposite.
Well, the thing that's befuddling, though, is like how many people, like these old couples that live together their whole lives, and one passes away and the other one dies within like weeks, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like my grandmother died on Christmas Day, and my grandfather passed away. No, my grandfather passed away on the Sunday before Christmas, and Christmas was a Tuesday, and my grandma passed away on Tuesday morning, which was Christmas Day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what like that's, I mean, most of us, I mean, you and I mean, guys in here would be like, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't have to have a divorce. This is amazing. Yeah. But no, it's really weird. Like on my mom's side, God, there's so much stuff. Like, so right after I was born, my grandfather, he was a plumber. So I think like 6 months after, an I-beam fell and hit him on the head. And they said he wouldn't live the night. He lived 11 years. So everyone that my grandmother sued had to keep paying out until he finally passed away. I remember when he died, and my dad came home from work, and my mom was like crying, and I just knew that he had passed away. And my dad was like, "What's wrong with your mom?" I'm like, "Oh, Grandpa died," and I didn't even know yet. And I remember my mom crying like at the funeral, and I asked her, I'm like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "Grandpa, he knew he wasn't well, and I mean, he suffered numerous strokes. He was paraplegic, but he was still able to like move his hands. He smoked with his big tongs, and he could drink his martinis or whatever. But he was considered paraplegic because he couldn't do anything on his own. But numerous strokes left him bedridden. And I remember like asking my mom, like, I go, "Why are you crying?" I mean, and I'm 12 at the time. I'm like, "You knew he was sick," and she's like, "Well, she's like, if I was to pass away tomorrow, you would cry." No, I wouldn't. Less than a year later, she dies. And you're just, that just, it replays to your mind, like, almost like she foreshadowed it. But it's like to think that no one else has passed away. But on my mom's side, she only had a sister and a brother. So her brother, his first wife, I think his only wife actually, had 2 kids with. She was a junkie. Ended up ODing, dying. And then they, on their side, like on the mom's side, she had a sister and was in an abusive relationship. And this was a few years later after she had passed away. They had called the police. The police came, took 3 guns out of the house. Guy calls an hour later and said, I just killed and shot my wife. And they were like, dude, we just took guns out. I had more. And my cousin Donnie was like, I guess I wasn't at the funeral, but I remember them talking about it. And they're like, at the funeral, he was like, you know, we've lost so many people in this family. We can't lose any more. A year later, Donnie is driving home after working a night shift delivering pizzas, passes out, not drunk, just falls asleep at the wheel, 2 exits from his house, runs into the overpass and dies. And you're just like, holy shit. Like, so like from my mom to their other aunt, like so much tragedy on that. And then my dad's side is like, and my dad's side is like, you know, my uncle.
You know, people our age, like our kids have it so different because like so many people our age, I remember going to school with so many people that didn't have grandparents because they'd all passed away when the kids were younger, right? They didn't remember their grandparents.
Yeah.
Like kids nowadays, our kids' age, they're having kids later, but the grandparents are living longer. So it's like they know their grandparents. Yeah. A lot of them know their great grandparents, right? It's so bizarre.
Yeah. So Susan's sister-in-law, her grandmother just passed away maybe less than 10 years ago. But she was like 101, I think. Yeah. 199, 100, 101.
My ex's grandmother's still alive, and she's probably, I got to say, she's 98, 99 now. And she's still alive and kicking.
And, you know, a lot of these people are, they're moving very well.
Oh, yeah.
They're still moving around. I mean, they're not riding skateboards anymore, but.
She gets up every day, cleans her house, cooks herself food. You know, she's taking care of herself. There's nobody there taking care of her.
Well, you know, I've said it for years. Just in general, I think your body starts to break down when you stop being.
Oh yeah, stop
like when you start sitting on the couch and not exercising and stuff. And I'm not saying you have to be at the gym 5 days a week or ride your skateboard every day, but it's like when you stop doing stuff, that's when your body breaks down. Because so many people are like, you know, oh, you're going to keep skating. And it's like, dude, until I can't. You know?
I know a guy who's like 92 now. And up until like a year ago when he basically couldn't do it anymore, and he still tries to do stuff, but like up until a year ago, he has a bunch of rental properties and he would go and fucking replace drywall, fix the heaters, tear water heaters out, you know, all of his rental properties. He did all the work. You know, he had people help him, but I mean, he was out doing all the work. He still goes out, but he can't do the work anymore.
Yeah, Susan's dad was the same way because he did the contract. He's in his 70s, and he finally stopped doing stuff when he started getting sick. And he said, like, you see Stan, and he's like still. I see Stan, I'm like, he still looks really good, you know, like his big giant calves. Like, I want those calves. But he was always like they did so much work here, you know, when we moved in. But you're right, like, you know, people will keep doing it. As long as you keep doing it. Now, you have to slow down because your body physically will.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But when you stop doing stuff, man, you're just like, you know, you might as well just fucking call it quits, man.
Yep,
like,
exactly. When you give up, that's when it's time to give in.
Yeah, it is difficult. And I've said numerous times talking about skateboarding, like the hardest part of coming back into skateboarding after all the years of not doing it is accepting that my body physically cannot do certain things that were just easy for me. That, I mean, they're gonna have to like try, and it's just not worth it. Or some things are just like, yeah, you ain't doing that ever again.
I'm the same way with hiking, though, dude. Like I've gone on hikes with Luke, right? And we get to a point like on a hill or something. I'm like, ain't no fucking way I'm going up that hill. And if I do, I'm stopping halfway up, and then I'll come back up the rest of the way. And I have to, right? When I was Luke's age, I'd run up the damn hill. It didn't matter. It's like,
but so what's funny about like hiking or bike riding, I always tell people, I go, it's not about how far you're going out. Just remember, however far you go out, you have to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Luke is always teasing me about that. He's like, don't break your leg, old man, because I ain't carrying your ass all the way back. The 6 miles that we got to get back out to the road. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
When I would go bike riding, I'd be like, it's not about getting 10 miles out.
Nope.
It's about, can I get the 10 miles back?
Exactly.
Because the 10 miles is easy, but then you're like, oh. And it doesn't matter when you ride your bike, and I would ride the path down to the beach here. it seems like whenever I would ride it, like, why is the wind always going against me?
Yep.
Like, wait a minute. I'm coming back now. It was just going the other way.
But you know, hiking and bike riding is no different than what we talked about with cars, right? You go out 10 miles or whatever. When you're going back, you get to those landmarks and you're like, holy fuck, I can't believe I'm only here.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah, it's so true. So true. Except in a car, you can, you don't have to worry. That's why, like, my dad's run marathons before. He's run more than a few, and he was big into running. And I'll never forget. And I don't understand running. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand running either. I don't run on purpose.
And when I was younger, you might find this hard to believe, I was kind of a smart ass.
I can't believe that.
And so he ran the Detroit Free Press Marathon, and I'm like, Dad, I just don't understand your running. And he's like, it's how you feel. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, it's how you feel when you're done. And I'm standing there, right? And on the wall is a picture of him coming in after his first one. And he's like this. And I'm like, you want to feel like that? And he just looked at me and he was like, and I turned around and went upstairs. It's how you feel when you're done. And I'm looking at and he's like across at the finish. I was like, you want to feel like that?
The runner's high.
The good thing about the marathons is that you don't have to go back when you do a marathon. You just go. You don't have to make a trip back.
When I tell everyone about running marathons, I'm like, they made cars that go 26.2 miles. There's no reason to run it.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm going 26.2 miles, it's in a car.
This guy I work with,
if I want to exercise.
This guy I work with, he's 53. He decided like 6 months ago that he's going to start training to run a marathon. So he's been running, 5 miles a day or whatever, right? Try getting in shape. And like Sundays, he tries to, go farther and farther and farther every Sunday. And then like a Sunday or two ago, he was on his run. He come in Monday morning, he's wearing a fucking splint on his ankle because he twisted his ankle. And now he's got to go to rehab. He might not even be able to do the marathon. I was like, that's why your old ass shouldn't be running, motherfucker.
My dad, he always wanted to qualify for the Boston Marathon. And he had hurt himself, but he got back into training. He was able to get into training before. And I want to say, he said around like the 12 or 13 mile, he hit a crack the wrong way and twisted his knee, and he goes, I re-aggravated it. So he ended up coming in at like, he ran him in like 4 hours and 4 minutes, 4 hours and 6, which is decent for people. But I'm like, you ran a fucking 26 miles in 4 hours? You fucking, like, I might make it 6 or 7 miles in that. But you train for it. I'm like, okay, so I make it like 8 miles. Like, I couldn't even imagine when you think about that pace. I'm like, no, like,
that, dude.
Maybe if you gave me a nice
like the drive when I go take my kids to their mom's house is about 27 miles. I'm just like, God. I mean,
so when I was in the Army, there was this dude. His name was Dave Goodner. I'll never forget the dude, right? And so when we were when you're like 18 to 22 or whatever the age range was, you had to run 2 miles in 14 and a half minutes. That was the time limit, right? To pass your physical fitness test. And Goodner used to run it. He was a dorky kid, but he used to run it in like 11 minutes, right? 2 miles, 11 minutes. Dude was fast as shit, right? So one day we're all sitting around in the motor pool and we're like, Goodner, how come you're so fucking fast? And he goes, because when I was at school, I had to run home so the bullies didn't beat my ass every day. And he was serious.
Oh my God. But again, like,
fast.
But to do 2 miles in 11 minutes is amazing.
Yeah, that's fast.
But that's just 2 miles. And then you think like people are running that. They're running at that pace for 26.2
Oh,
miles.
yeah, for sure, right?
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
It'd be like those videos you see where like those ladies running, they're just their body's totally giving out, where their knees are just flopping. Those things, man, that is so.
The way they show those people after 26 miles is how I'd be after like 6. I'd just be falling down. My body would be rubber. Just drag me off the sidewalk with a shovel.
Shit, I remember a few years back trying to play a soccer game just at the park with my friend and his cousins. Oh my god! I was like, there's no way I can keep up with you guys. Freaking playing soccer. This is insane. I thought I was gonna die.
There was one time at the gym, and I remember this, and I got on the treadmill, and I was running at 6 miles. I want to say it was 6 miles, 6-minute miles. Right? Yeah, not fast, but it's pretty fast, right? Is it 6? Not 3 because I could never run 3. Anyway, and I just felt good. I made it like I think 6 miles, no walking or anything. I felt really good. But at 6 miles, I'm like, oh, I'm done. Like I couldn't because I wasn't training. I felt good and I made it 6 miles and I felt good, but I was exhausted. I'm like, how? Like, you're talking about almost 4 times as much to get to over 4 times as much to get to a marathon. And you're like
yeah. And you do that kind of shit, and that's when the next day you go to sit down on the toilet and you can't squat to get down on the toilet because your legs are so fucking bad.
Oh man, yeah, squats are great. Training legs when you haven't in a while.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that toilet looks awful.
And it's just like anything else. Once you go down, then you got to get back up at some point.
Yeah. Yes.
That halfway down and halfway back up.
Yeah, and that's what, like I said, the whole bike riding thing, I always tell people, I'm like, man, it's not about getting there. Just know that you can get back. But biking is still like, okay, you can coast on a bike. You can sit down on a bike. You've decided to run somewhere. You've decided to walk somewhere. Good luck.
Yeah, biking, you got pedal real hard and then take a little break.
Yeah.
I did like a bike marathon when I was young, like 18 years old for charity, and like you got paid, people donated by the mile, right? How many miles you went.
Yeah.
And I did 30 miles on a 10-speed. I don't remember how long it took me, but holy fuck, I couldn't walk for like 3 days. My legs just fucking hurt. It didn't feel that bad, when I was doing it, but damn.
No, when you're going, no, but yeah. Afterburn.
Next day when everything cooled down and the muscles tightened up, yeah, fuck that.
Oh, I've taken slam skateboarding where I'm like, I am going to hurt tomorrow, but I'm still loose now.
Yeah.
So I took a slam it was a few years ago. I can't knock on wood because someone will think someone's at the door. And start barking. I've been relatively lucky. I've never really suffered anything major, right? And I went to go do a trick on the mini ramp, right? And when I went to go drop in or go back in, I tried to step off my board. But as I was stepping, I could see I was about to step onto the board. Like there was no way to avoid it. And the board's going down. I'm going down the ramp. I step on it. It shoots out. I spun around. I landed on the flat. Now, normally when someone falls, someone kind of puts their board up and they're ready to go. I laid there for probably about 30 to 45 seconds, not really moving. And nobody tried to drop in. And I'm sitting up there with like a bunch of my buddies, the guys that work there, younger guys. And my buddy Tony, who's a little bit older than I am, he's one when I got back into it, like we started skating together. And I could feel, it hurt. Like it just jarred everything through me. And if I'm laying down there and not really acknowledging what's going on, like I'm hurt. So I got up and my whole body was jarred. But I'm like, I still felt okay. I knew I was going to hurt the next day. But when I got up and I looked up at the deck, and we're talking about a bunch of 20-year-olds, they're all like this. Like, I'm like, holy shit. And I get out and I'm like, I said to Tony, I'm like, oh man, I go, was it bad? And he's like, yeah. I go, man, I wish someone had it on video. And he goes, no, you don't. And then I'm talking to my buddy Shane, who I've become really good friends with. He was talking to this other guy, Dom, that I'm friends with. And Shane, this was after the session, and Shane was like, Dom was like, I don't want to skate anymore today. I don't want to skate anymore today. I could see it all on their faces, and I hurt for. I mean, my whole body. It was total whiplash, is what it was. I hurt for 7 days, like just completely sore. Like I had worked out every muscle group every single day. But when I looked at Tony, and he doesn't like seeing slams as it is, but I'm like, I wish someone had a video so I could see it. And he was like, no, you don't. I'm like, it was that bad? He's like, yeah, it was bad. Which then made me think, none of you fuckers came to see if I was all right. Like, I didn't get up, all right? Like, I laid there, and especially you, like, you've skated with me my whole life. Like, I don't.
All those young guys are up on the deck going, is he dead? I don't know. Is he dead? He's not moving. Is he dead?
Well, I've never had that bad. Like people that say like they're on video and they broke their arm and stuff, and it said it takes them so long to go back and watch that video again.
Oh,
I've never had anything like that, but I'm always trying to imagine. Like, yeah, I've never even broke anything either. All the skateboarding stuff I've done, I'm surprised.
That's why I'm like,
yeah, I'll do it for both of us.
Thank you. But if he hears that, he'll still.
I know. I was just thinking. I was like, "Is he still on the camera?" That don't help. Yeah, I can imagine like going back and watching a video, like say you broke your arm and then it's on camera.
Think I could.
I know. I try to imagine like if I'd be able to even like.
People constantly send me stuff of like somebody breaking something skateboarding, like snapping a leg, and it's like, okay, first off, I never liked that in general. Like I can't deal with that. But second off, I'm a 48-year-old guy riding a skateboard. Why are you sending me something of like some guy tragically snapping his leg? Or when someone goes, hey, have you seen the video of this guy breaking his leg? And you go, nope. And they're like, I'll send it to you. I'm like, no, I don't want to see it.
But I don't even like watching those videos of people getting
arm
hurt.
Wrestling. That was arm wrestling where they broke their arm.
Yeah.
Arm wrestling. Oh, my God.
Oh, those are horrible. You see their elbows pop out and shit?
Oh, my God.
Okay. It was Matthew. Were you there for that conversation? Ed, did you? I have a, like when I was younger, and especially when I was like getting bigger, people would always want to arm wrestle me, right? Or they want me to arm wrestle someone. I'm like, I don't arm wrestle, like, because it doesn't matter how big you are if you don't know how to arm wrestle.
Right.
It's a lot of it's. I mean, you need strength, but it's technique, right? Mm-hmm. But I have this irrational fear of my arm snapping. And I was talking to Matthew about it because he's a doctor, and I was saying something. I have this irrational. I'm like, I want to arm wrestle someone because I have this irrational fear of snapping my arm. And he goes, dude, you're in your 40s skateboarding, and you're scared of fucking arm wrestle. And I'm like, yep, I am.
I remember you talking about that on either stream or maybe
maybe it was on one of Oz's or something, but
or maybe it was after like you and me were together when we talked the after show or something. I remember you talking about that, and I was like, I was thinking about those videos. Yeah, those videos, watching those, just oh my god.
Well, it's like you said though, it's technique, right? There's that guy that's probably like not much bigger than us who beat Braun Strowman arm wrestling, and Braun Strowman's a big motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, so much of it's technique. I mean, it's the same with like when someone's doing like one deadlift for 700 pounds. Like a lot of it's technique, and a lot of people aren't they're not as big as they are strong.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, I go, bodybuilders that are growing to be bodybuilders, they would love, like, the strength is the byproduct of getting big. I would love if I could get big off 25 pounds the rest of my life. No, Aaron, no. My old best friend, he did all kinds of MMA, and we went to a tournament. It was a judo tournament, and he went up against this kid that he was a wrestler, and he goes, I broke his arm. He goes, what? He goes, I didn't mean to. He goes, but he didn't tap, and and I'm like, why would he do that? He goes, because in wrestling, in wrestling, it's pinfalls, right? He didn't know how to submit. And he goes, I heard it snap, and then I let him go. And so they mounted us up again, and I knew I could see how his arm was kind of dangling. He goes, I just kind of grabbed it, and he tapped right away. And he goes, I went up to him, dude, I'm really, really sorry. Like, he didn't do it on purpose or anything. But he talks about it like people that, like they don't know what they're doing, and they're going to get something snapped. And yeah, you roll on it the wrong way. And yeah, I don't need, listen, I'm not fighting anyone. I don't need
no, fuck that, dude.
I'll swing my skateboard at him.
Truck to the head.
But yeah, no, yeah, and I have a weak stomach too. Like I can't handle that stuff.
I just cringe, right? I watch some of those videos like where people take falls and stuff, right? And some of them are pretty funny because it's just stupid shit, right? But some of them are, you know, the person really fucked themselves up, right? And you're just like, oh God.
So thinking about when younger, going renting like Faces of Death from the VHS.
I never liked the. I don't.
As I got older, I'm like, oh, now everything freaking turns me off. I cringe at everything, like seeing people get hurt.
So, for a while on my personal Instagram, there was I would follow like all these different skateboard things, right? And then all of a sudden, you see like someone do a trick, and like they're like snap, right? And you realize that it's from like if it's Thrasher, they're not going to show that. If it's from one of the company, they're not going to show that. But some of these little ones, they would show like a skater doing something, their arm snapping. I'm like, I have done follow them. I can't watch that. And recently, my Instagram, it was showing a parkour, and I see this guy jumps, and he comes down and he catches his leg between the thing that he's supposed to get, and I'm like, oh my God! It happened so fast that I can't even get in to sit there and block without seeing it. But I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to see this. Like, why is this being shown? Like, this guy jumps, goes down, and he traps his leg between the two pieces of concrete. And you know the result.
Yeah.
All right. It wasn't good. All right. And I'm like, I couldn't even get up to block it. Like, you can go back to block.
Well, that's like those people that video themselves when they climb up like those really high buildings and hang off the edges of them and stuff. Fuck that. Yeah. I'm not even afraid of heights, but fuck that, dude.
Oh, I'm scared shitless of heights. So when I see it,
your hand has to get, mine would get so sweaty.
I know.
An amazing. So do you guys have Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Free Climb? Maybe is what it was called. Do you know what I'm talking about? When the guy climbs like solo.
You're talking about the guys that climb the
free.
Well, it was one guy, and he
climbing. Yeah, it's free climbing.
He climbed like the biggest thing that no one had done before, right? And it was all in 4K, and they're doing these drones, right? And people had climbed it before, but no one's ever done free climb, right? And it was crazy because he's going like when they show him like training for it and everything, and I watched it. It's amazing, but like you don't feel good when you see in the drones because of how high he gets. And when he finally does it, because he did it in a really quick pace, because you can't hold on for that long, right?
Yeah.
But there's people that like kike it and they're like hanging there when they stay the night, which I think is awesome, but also crazy. The people that put those
the ones that sleep on the sides of the cliffs.
Oh yeah. I think it's super awesome, but also like no, he passes by like someone who's like in a bunny suit, But what was crazy is that his mentor that helped him train for it, he was having a hard time watching because he's like, I've climbed this before. I think he said he climbed it before, but never, like, no one's ever done it free, and especially how fast he did it. And he's like, I can't watch. And he survived and everything, but it was one of the first 4K things that I watched, and I was like, oh my God, like, you're seeing those drones and you're seeing how it's pointing, and you're just like, nope. No, I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand like that adrenaline.
Muscles in their tips of their fingers and everything right there just have to be so strong. Like
that's it, right? They're hanging out like the edge of their finger, and it's like they're pulling themselves up. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, if you see closely on their hands and fingers and stuff, I'm just like, that is.
In my luck, that fucking little stone would give out anyway, and then I'd fucking fall, so it wouldn't matter.
I was watching an interview with one of the no, I know what you're talking. Nope. I was watching this interview with a pro skater from. He was a pro when I was young. He was one of the early street skaters. Tommy Guerrero. You probably knew Tommy Guerrero is. And they were talking to him, and they're like, "Do you surf or anything?" And he's like, "Nope, nope." And they're like, "Really?" They're like, he goes, "Yeah." People would always ask me, "Do you skydive?" And they're like, "Well, you're a skateboarder. You must be like a thrill seeker." And he's like, "No, I just like to skateboard. I'm not a thrill seeker. I don't want to jump out of an airplane. I don't want to surf. I don't want to mountain climb." He's like, "I just like skateboarding. It's not about thrill seeking, I live in San Francisco, so there's all the hills. That's why I'm bombing the hills. It has nothing to do with thrill seeking." And it's like, that's exactly how I feel. I feel no need to thrill seek. I just liked riding a skateboard, which a lot of people, see as thrill seeking, but it's like, no, it's something I enjoy doing. It has nothing to do with the thrill.
Yeah, you probably never tried to surf or anything, right, Lawrence?
No,
Surfing?
no. I don't think I would either.
There's not a lot of surfing in Michigan.
I know. I wasn't sure how long you lived there, like whole life or what. I've lived in California my whole life. I've never surfed a day in my life, though. Boogie boarded and stuff, but
I would be lying if I did not say that I have an irrational fear of sharks also.
I don't give a fuck who you are. The ocean is some scary shit.
Now
right?
that's okay. The ocean is when you don't want to swim out to that market. As far as you swim out, you gotta come back, and it is freaking rough swimming back.
Yeah.
When you get out there too far, you think you're gonna die coming back.
I would believe that. Yeah, that's another thing. And like when you see some of the falls,
you think those waves are gonna push you back to shore, but they're not.
Yeah, that is the exact same thing. Like we went to the ocean, when we went to Florida, all the waves are pushing you back. It's like riding the bike. Why was I going against the wind? Now I'm coming back. I'm still going against the wind. Well, you're just going against the waves, and all of a sudden you can't get back because the waves are somehow pushing you back. Wait a minute, you were just pushing me that way.
No, it took me one time swimming out way too far in the ocean, and I was younger too. Like I shouldn't have swum out that far, and I thought I was gonna die coming back. And never again. I always am checking back, looking over my shoulder.
So
make sure I'm not going that far.
What's funny here, and I don't know if you have this problem where you live. We always have this problem. And it's ice fishing. Yep. And around springtime, there's always reports of the Coast Guard that has to go and rescue some people that decide to go on the ice that they know is too thin, and it breaks away. And now it's taking them out. I can't say to sea because it's not technically the sea. And the Coast Guard has to go save them. And I'm of the mindset, no, you should let them die. They knew the ice was too thin. They went out anyway because it's 70 degrees today. And it's been, melting. This is God's way of saying we're thinning the herd.
Yep.
But the Coast Guard have to go save them, and you're like, sorry, guys.
Well, it's like that comedian, I can't remember his name, but he talks about that, like how, there's no survival of the fittest anymore because the stupid people are living now because we have so many warnings and safeties now. And it's like, back when he was a kid in the 50s and 60s, it's like people just died. You did something stupid, you died. That was it.
So Aaron says, I'll choke the shark out. Have you seen the guy? I follow him on Instagram now. He tells how to get out of predicaments, and it'll be like, if a bear attacks you, well, this is an easy one. Mm-hmm. And he'll show what have you seen him?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The one that does all the funny shit with it?
Yes. Not like his avatar comes in and he's like, all right, here's what you do. First, you take this one out by kicking him here.
Yeah.
That guy, he's like, that one's easy, guys.
I always say I kick a shark in the nose. I'm like, that sounds so freaking scary to me. Kicking right at their face with your leg.
So I have a
friend, right in their mouth.
I have a friend from high school and we weren't really friends in high school, but we talk now. He has another irrational fear of a major irrational fear of sharks, right? So anytime I see a shark video, I send it over to him. I sent this one over, and it was this girl, and she's narrating what had happened, and she's like, "So if a shark ever approaches you, and this is a great white, I believe it's a great white, and she's like, if it ever comes approaching you, you just do this. Like if they're not moving, slowly grab its nose and push it away."
Yeah, I was good that too.
No, at that point, I'm in fight mode, and I know I'm dying. I'm not going to go, okay, I'm just going to grab it and push it away. First off, I'm like, I shouldn't be here. I know my mistake. Mr. Shark, hopefully you won't eat me. I'm not thinking, I'm just going to put my hand here. I'm going, where are the dolphins? Are the dolphins going to come save me? Where's the killer whales that are also mammals and they want to save me?
I know, like, I love that there's those people out there. It's like, oh, shark's coming to attack you. You just grab its nose and gently push it away. They're remaining all calm. It's like, yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and then the next short is someone in a cage and the shark attacking the cage, ripping it open, and you're like,
yeah, I was just gonna say this.
Why didn't you just put your hand on the nose?
Go back out the cage.
Or the people that go like, we want to go swim with the sharks. Oh, you mean the dolphins? No, the sharks. You mean the ones with the big giant teeth, right? Okay. They don't come on our land. We don't go in their ocean. How about that?
I was around to that when Rob Dyrdek went down there in that chainmail freaking underwater stuff to get attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's such a crazy bastard. Go down there and actually let him bite you.
Yeah, that's I have no need to do that. Like, I have nothing to prove. I think I told the story before. When we went up to up north, there was a bear farm, and Andrew and myself, and Andrew was a baby, I don't want to say baby, but very young, right? And we took pictures with a cub bear, and so I'm over here, he's on the one side, and the cub is sitting there, and he started chomping on my arm, but don't worry, they have Fruit Loops to distract him that he'll eat. And so he chomped on the arm, whatever. And they give the Fruit Loops and he lets go or whatever. You take your pictures. And we get out of the fencing. And Susan goes, "Man, you look scared." I go, "I was." And she goes, "What?" I go, you could see the teeth marks that he had left indents. Like, again, didn't break skin, but left indents. And I go, well, when he started chomping on my arm, and this is a cub, I'm like, if he wanted to, he could have just snapped my arm. Like, there was nothing I could do. But they had Fruit Loops. So as long as they had Fruit Loops, you're fucking fine.
Well, that's like, I've seen those pictures, and we see it used to happen up here in the Adirondacks, and that they don't have like bear dumps in the Adirondacks anymore for that reason, because these idiots get out, and there's that place in Tennessee by Pigeon Forge you can actually drive through, and the bears sit on the side of the road. And you can take pictures, from your car, right? And there's videos of people getting out and trying to take selfies with the bears. Now they're black bears, so chances are they're probably not going to attack you, but piss it off and see what happens, right? Fuck around and find out. I mean, it's like
my old rep for the manufacturer. He retired. He'd been building a house in Florida. He's right on he's right on the ocean, right in the Gulf of Mexico. And this is how he is. He's from Ohio State fan. The day that Harbaugh took the job for San Diego, I get a call from him. "Hey, don't jump off any bridges, man." I go, "Hey, how come I don't get a call from you when Michigan beats Ohio State? And why didn't I get a call from you when they beat Alabama? And how didn't I get a call from you when they won the national championship?" And he goes, "Because that's just the way it is." So, we're good friends, and we're talking. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going down there?" And, he's right on the water, and they're raised above, right? They have an elevator, and he goes bike riding, and he's talking about the snakes, and then he's just talking about the black bears. And I go, "You have bears down there?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." I go, "I didn't realize they had bears down there." And he's like, "Oh, there's a lot." And he goes, "I have a bear. and he sent me footage from their camera that he comes circling around, looking through my garbage almost every single night. He said around, I think, 2 or 3. And the neighbors, I told them, like, yeah, there's a bear who come through, so you want to just keep it covered or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. And I'm like, I would not have guessed that there was, on the Gulf of Mexico, black bears. And he goes, yeah, I was riding my bike, and I saw one. And I was kind of like, okay, Mr. Bear, you just stay right there. Like,
I'm not afraid of bears, but I have enough respect for nature that I know to leave them fuck alone, right?
Well, that's just it. Like, you don't have to be afraid of something, but you also know. I know that if I was to see a bear, I'm not going to go up and say, "Hey, how close can I get to it?"
Yeah,
because the bear can run faster than me, which isn't very hard these days. As it is. The bear is stronger than me. Maybe Aaron can choke out the bear.
Yeah.
A matter
you
of
don't
fact,
have to be. You don't have to be fast. You just have to be faster than the person that one other person.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yes. Yes. When the zombie apocalypse comes, you just have to be faster than the slowest person. Yeah. The guy we were talking about on Instagram, he talks about how to defeat a bear if it ever attacks you. And you're like,
my oldest daughter, when she was in high school, they have to do like track and stuff, for gym, right? And she's never been able to run to save her life, right? And the gym teacher actually called her wolf bait for the entire time she was in high school, because she would be the one that got ate by the wolves because she was slower than everybody else.
That's so bad.
Yeah, we actually get black bears around here all the time. I'm not afraid of black bears. It's just.
Well, see, I would assume that up there. I just didn't expect it down there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you just got to be smart enough to respect nature, no matter what it is, right?
Oh, dude.
Even a fucking raccoon will take your fucking finger off if you piss it off.
Oh yeah. So we had a pet squirrel that freaking bit the hell out of me. I bled so freaking.
Oh yeah,
bastard.
Yeah. Speaking of moose is another one. I had a buddy that lived in Alaska, and the moose were all over the place. And he would send me like videos and shit, right?
Oh yeah.
Every day, like when he went out to just shovel his driveway, he would have to like check out his lawn to make sure he could actually go out there to shovel, so he didn't like disturb a moose and have it attack him. Because they don't fucking stop. They will like chase you and hunt you down.
I just recently saw a video on Instagram, and it was a moose on top of a car. And the guy comes out of his house and he's yelling at the moose because there's snow all over the ground. And he's like, "Get off my fucking car." He's like, "Go stand on the shitty 84 that's next to it." He's like, "Get off the fucking Mustang." There's all these other cars around it that are shitty, and he's like on top of the one that's covered because
he wanted to have the luxury couch.
Which he's like yelling at him and shit. But that type of stuff, like it's scary because like a bear, like you can lock your door, but a bear can get through the door if it wants to. Like the lock isn't really gonna stop.
Oh yeah.
Same with a deer. If people, I've never hit a deer, but I've seen more than enough dead deer and enough cars that have gotten hit by deer, and you're like, I can't believe a deer did that. They will completely destroy your car.
Oh yeah.
Fairly easily. My boss hit one on his way home because he lives out where there's a bunch of deer. And he goes, I came out and it hit the side of my car. And then he goes, I got out and I'm looking. I'm like, fuck, like I gotta make it. And he's like, and then the deer, which he's like, the deer's fucking dead on the side of the road. And he goes, I gotta go move it. And all of a sudden the deer fucking pops up like in Tommy Boy and just fucking takes off. He's like, that motherfucker did a hit and run on my truck.
I was driving my truck one day just down the road from where I lived, actually, and I I was cruising along doing like 30, 35 because it was, like early in the morning, still somewhat dark out. And there's deer all over. So I knew they were moving, right? And it was rut season. So the boy deers are always after the females. And I'm cruising along, and all of a sudden this female comes flying across the road, right? So I stopped, and I'm watching her run through the field that's next to the road. I start driving. I smacked a buck right in the ass with my truck, right? Buck stops, turns back, and Luke was with me, right? Because I was taking him to school, and I was like, the only thing I just looked at him, I was like, well, I guess he's not after that doe anymore. But like that's why the female was running, right? But I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, this buck's just there. I was like, bam! It's like, oh, poor deer, I ruined your whole fucking vibe, man.
Yeah. That first one, think you missed him.
Yeah, I don't live I do not live in a rural. I mean, I live in the suburbs, but there are some woods, so there's a bunch of deer that do live here, and I'll see them in the back because I have my backyard, and then there's a big field, and there's a house on the other side, and the reason why there's never been anything built there is from what we were told is that. They went up with the projects back there. So they let everyone with these townhouses buy like an extra 40 feet. And then like five families bought that land. So they couldn't put anything back there. So the deer will go back there. And one day, and I see the deer all the time. I mean, it's not like every day, but I see it, once or twice a month. I look outside and there's a deer in my yard. And he had hopped the fence and he was chewing on something. And I'm like, where the fuck's Roman at? And I'm like, is he outside? Well, he's on the side of the house. And I'm like, Roman. And right when I said that, he must have turned and saw the deer. And because I'm thinking, like, I do not need him attacking a deer and fucking getting kicked a fucking half mile. And I had to take him all the vet bills and everything. And he starts running at the deer, and I watch the deer prance off and just like hop over the fence like it was a fucking parking block. I'm like,
oh yeah,
shit, dude. Yep. But I've never seen him actually come in my yard before.
They can go so far and so high, it's crazy.
I had a pit bull that was my niece's dog, and then I ended up taking care of it because she couldn't take care of it anymore. But that dog is missing all the teeth all on this side of his mouth. From the front and the bottom, all gone. And you can find out that yes, when he was younger, he was barking at a horse behind him. Barking at this horse, and that horse kicked him and knocked all those teeth out. And not only was he missing all those teeth, he never barked again. Like the whole time I had him and everything, he would give out like the lowest level. It was about it, but he never barked again either. So he was afraid to bark at anything after that.
Wow. That's crazy. Pit bulls are like, they're usually, no matter how much they get hurt, they're usually still so happy. Unless if they're like.
No, he was happy. I love that dog.
I'm just saying, like,
but
there was a vet that was saying, like, yeah, I had one. It jumped out of the car while driving, but it was stuck on the leash. And when they brought it in, it was just like in such bad shape. And she's like, it couldn't stop wagging his tail. You could tell that it was happy, but it was in so much pain. And I'm like, holy shit! Like that's how they are. Like they don't let you know. Most of them don't let you know that they're hurt or anything like that. And you're like,
yeah, that same dog used to go in the pool and we get on the first couple steps and get all wet, and man, it would just do laps around the pool like afterwards so fast, like 20 times. It was the funniest shit ever. Every time we do that, when we get hot out.
This one would not go out in the rain unless I make him. Like I have to make him go out and like go out. Unless he really has to go. Like, if it's raining and he goes out, I'm like, you really have to go to the bathroom. But if I step outside, he'll go out. And he's fine. Like, if it's raining and someone goes out with him, he's perfectly fine. And I think that's why, like, on Mondays, when, like, my daughter or my son will be like, I just let him out. I'm like, you didn't walk outside with him. And, like, let him know, like, take your time. Like, spend 10 minutes out there. Just sit down at the table and, let him run around or do whatever. Just make sure there's no skunks out there. We haven't had any in a couple years. I don't even know where my dog is.
Yeah, I skunked a few months back. I was driving home. It was nighttime out. And no way around it. I just was driving. It was the weirdest thing. There's not a skunk crossing the road. My headlights just seen the skunk dead center running straight up the middle of the road. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I can't go either way. And just went straight over him. And I heard the littlest dunk. I was like, because I was leaving work. I was like, I'm going to see that skunk in the morning. Didn't see it like roadkill or anything the next day. But man, I know I hit it because my car stunk for like 3-4 days. So bad.
My dog got sprayed twice.
Oh yeah, we had a dog that always did.
One time it was in the summer, or one time it was in the winter. It was so god awful. It just makes everything smell.
Yeah.
Roman got sprayed a few times a few years ago because the neighbor has a shed that's rotting, and there's a hole on the other side of the fence that they were getting in. They have 2 pit bulls. The one has killed two skunks. Now, Roman has not. He's gotten sprayed. He killed the groundhog, which I think I told that story about the groundhog. Poor kids watched it go like 10 feet in there. Like, Dad, why'd you let him out? I'm like, I didn't think he was going to catch the groundhog. He caught the groundhog. Well, he didn't technically catch it. He caught up to it. When he threw it, he didn't catch it. It came down and died. But so they had a skunk, so they said slap shot. It was at night, got out, and they like just ripped it out. He's like, I could see the intestines go right up. And he goes, the only place that he smelled was on his face. So he got up on that skunk so fast that the skunk never even knew what happened. So it was like the next year, I go knock on the door. I go, hey, just so you know, like if you smell, there's a dead skunk like right in front of my yard. And he goes, yeah. He goes, Slapshot got that at like 4 a.m. I go, it's on the opposite side of our fences. He goes, yeah, I know. What? He goes, he hopped the fence and grabbed it. I went, what? Then he goes, yeah, he saw it and jumped the fucking fence. He goes, he clearly just hates skunks, and then just fucking ripped it apart. And so I don't know if I've told you guys before about my neighbors. I don't know their situation. I don't ask. But it's a married couple. I thought they were getting a divorce. The boyfriend moved in. Now all 3 of them live together.
Whoa.
And the boyfriend and the husband are like super good friends. They're always doing shit together. But this guy isn't taking care of himself, the boyfriend. And I go out to cook one day, and he's out there cooking. And he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. It was just like 2 years ago. And he's like, yeah, I'm a half foot shorter now. I went, no, I'd have to have my foot amputated. Now, mind you, I'm trying to cook dinner, and he's explaining this whole thing to me, how like his circulation because of his diabetes. I like saying diabetes more than diabetes. But the one dog, he clipped it, and they didn't realize, and then it started getting infected. They didn't amputate it. So it's taken him time to learn to walk. So come back, maybe a year. Chad, I don't know if his name's Chad. No, the husband's name is Chad. Knock on my door. He goes, hey, can you help me with the skunk? I just can't take it. I'm like, all right. And I'm like in the middle of eating dinner, but I'm like, all right. So I go out there. Now I have a weak stomach, but Chad can't even help. And here I am. He's like, he goes, I just need you to hold the bag, right? So here it is. The guy with half a foot. He's on one of those push, you know that little push bike for people that have issues with when they break their ankle or whatever. Yeah. He's sitting on that on the grass with the shovel, and he's the one that's picking it up while I'm holding the bag so he can dump it in, because Chad can't handle just holding it there and seeing it. So the whole time, like, the guy that's trying to get it up with the shovel was not 1 foot, but he's up on the little bike doing it. And the whole time I'm thinking, I can just do the shovel. Like, it's making me sick, but I'm sick either way. But I'm just like, really? You came and got me? Like, you have the one-legged dude doing this. Like, you can't just hold the fucking bag. Like, it. Oh, man. But the groundhog was. Did I tell you guys the groundhog before?
Yeah, you told us the groundhog story. Well, you told me anyway.
Did I tell you it, Cobb?
Don't think so. I was trying to think if I turned on, like, you talk on one of your streams or something, but no, I don't think so.
It was like the week before we went to St. Louis a couple years ago. We had all these groundhogs, and Roman would always go chase them. I've seen groundhogs jump the fence and like get to the top, and I swear he's nipped their butts. I didn't realize groundhogs could jump fences. So I see one out there, and the kids are right at the door. I'm like, and I let Roman out, and he's never caught one, but this groundhog went this way. And at the time, we had a playscape there, and groundhog kind of got stuck there and didn't know what to do, so he stuttered, and then he went around it. And he rolled, and here's Roman going, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And I would say about 2/3 down. Man, no, it wasn't even 2/3. About half, just over halfway through the yard. Here comes Roman up on him. And my kids are watching. The groundhog went, I want to say 10 feet in the air. Boom, comes down. Roman now has stopped. He's turned around. This groundhog popped up in a defensive position. Drops down, and he's right against the fence. He crawls underneath the fence. Now I had to put this a 1x8 foot board down because my yard dips like this, and so the fence can't go all the way down, and their other fucking pit bulls are like going underneath it and shit. Well, the one was, so I had to secure it. So the groundhog gets under, and he's like right against it, and he's dying. And Roman's barking at him like I've never seen like flies start flying around something so fast. Like they were vultures.
I know.
So he's dying. Roman's barking. I go tell the neighbors, hey, Roman got a groundhog. It climbed onto your side. Don't let your dogs out. And once it finally died, we went over and got it, put it in the garbage. We go on vacation, come back.
No.
I'm talking to them, and they're like, since Roman killed the groundhog, we haven't seen any. I'm like, shut up. He's like, I swear to God. Like,
word got around in the groundhog community.
The wire went out.
Yeah,
don't come to this car.
Like
don't come to
3 years ago, I've seen 2 or 3 groundhogs. I'm just like, well, I mean, it worked out, but the kids will still make jokes about it because it went. I mean, he grabbed it, he threw it, and I'm just like, but the whole time as I'm watching it, it's that slow motion thing. I'm like, oh my God, he's going to fucking get it. And he got it. Yeah. They seem like they move really fast. So a bigger dog, it's like my, the little Bichon Shih Tzu that we had. Sheldon would come back and he'll run around the yard and he seems so fast. And then Roman would like run with him. And then you just realize just the big, well, I wouldn't even say Roman has big legs because pit bulls don't. But compared to a little Bichon Shih Tzu, yeah, he's just like Sheldon looks really fast because he's small. He's not that fast. and Roman would like run right over him, just because he's just going that, that much bigger. But
I'm trying to think what that one video was where the people they rescue like a squirrel, I think it was, and we're letting it go back into the wild and put it on the tree. Up comes I don't know if it was their dog or their cat. Their pets came up and grabbed it off the tree and took off. They've been nursing this squirrel back to health and got it back where they thought they could release it. Put it on a tree and it starts climbing up and like, oh, here he goes back to nature. There comes their dog or their cat.
I saw that one.
And
I have not seen that.
It's fucked up, but it's freaking funny though. They're screaming at I think it was a dog screaming at it. Rover.
Yeah, we're going to hell. It's gonna be so many people down there. It's gonna be like Joe Fest.
Exactly. We'll all be there.
So I'm gonna be there. Holy shit. I said I wasn't gonna do this again. I'm like, I can't. I was on to like 4:00 yesterday. I can't be on again.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get going off here in a minute. I got to get some food. I'm starving.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've been on here 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we've been on this one 2.5.
Yeah.
We started on Payne's at 10.
Yeah. I need a life.
Yeah, I can get some food in me too. I'm getting my snacks, but they're not cutting it.
Yeah.
And I gotta go grocery shop in the morning, and then we're supposed to go out to eat for my daughter's birthday. So, man.
Well, you got anything coming up, Larry?
Monday Night Toy Ramblings. I will be discussing for the topic, which we will eventually get to, the price of the G.I. Joe classifieds, like which ones you should pay for, which ones are priced really high and everything. And then we're doing some movie thing, but I don't know what we're going to be voting on yet on Thursday. Tomorrow I will have the O-Ring, 8:00 in the morning. It will come out. The O-Ring Skeletron. And then I would assume the next 2 days consecutively will be the 4-inch figures.
All right.
And I also learned how to take paint off of legs. You can go watch that video right now.
Oh yeah, I played my story.
Yeah, which I'm talking to Aaron in down south right now, and they already know this. So I don't think there's too many other people watching.
Right, I know.
What do you got going on, Cobb?
Oh, nothing really planned out. Just shoot out some videos when I decide to open some more stuff. Well, actually, I guess Brick put it out there earlier. He's working on those Castle Grayskull backdrops.
Yeah.
Make it some things for a little collab we're going to do, I guess. He talked
cool.
about it in the chat earlier, so I guess I'm all right to talk about it. So we got some stuff in the works. We're going to do some videos and stuff together.
Awesome.
So look forward to that.
All right. And I have tonight we'll be on Hella Dope Toys. And I think tonight's all about the Dark Knight. So
yep. The Dark Knight.
The Black Knight.
Batman.
Yeah. And then Monday I'll be moderating Lawrence's, and Tuesday I'll have my stream. Wednesday I'll probably be shopping with Travis, and then Thursday I'll be moderating another punk stream. And then Friday I'll be moderating a Rad Dom stream, and that's pretty much it. I might need a break.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But anyway, appreciate everybody sticking around and hanging out. What's that?
I have to get the whole outfit, like get dressed like a mod.
Yeah. I just did a big wrench costume.
I'll be like the punk rock scene in the mods.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for hanging out. Aaron, down south.
Yeah, guys.
Anybody else that's still here? Maybe Adam might still be here. Everybody else is probably crashed out and snoring. So
yeah, I think
thanks,
so.
Guys. Everybody have a great night.
All right, down south.
All right, guys. Take care.